First of all, I want to say thank you for joining us, guys. I know I came late. I was supposed to be here earlier. My apologies. I had some technical issues and also preparations. But anyway, first of all, I want to say greetings to all of my fellow brothers and sisters. And I would love if you could do your best to share it around the forums, the Equatorian forums. That would be greatly appreciated. But one I want to say is that greetings to all from Equatorial Solution Council in diaspora. مجلس الرابطة التوعية المدنية في الشتات. I hope you hear me well, guys. If anybody hear me well, just put thumbs up. It'd be great. Saying yes, you hear me, so I can know that you hear me clear. Because sometimes there's some difficulties earlier. Some people say they cannot hear me. So if you hear me well, give us thumbs up. Again, greetings from Equatorial Solution Council in diaspora. مجلس الرابطة التوعية المدنية في الشتات. Greetings to all from my fellow Equatorian revolutionary brothers and sisters. I salute you in the name of justice, accountability, and equal rights. And again, I salute you in the name of Equatorian nationalism, and I salute you in the name of Equatorian unity, the unity of our people struggle, and I salute you also in the name of hope, future for our people, and the love for one another, and the bond we share with one another through our ancestral blood for a new Equatorian. My fellow Equatorian brothers and sisters, I just want to say thank you for joining us, and I want to welcome you here in this important topic about the definition to the conflict in South Sudan. So the conflict in South Sudan, as we know, there's some parts in it, and it seems to have been defined in the question. The definition to the conflict in South Sudan, what led to it, how do the SPLMA regime, IGAD, and the international community define it? And also, the third one, and what is the disadvantage, and advantage, all of the above toward the people of South Sudan and security, which concerning the security. Anyway, these one things that most important that we need to talk about. So I'll give CJ you here to listen to kind of like put your input, because the first topic is the definition to the conflict of South Sudan. Can you like define it in your own terms if you want to, and like how to discuss this, because this is very important. And why reason I said that, because if you look now, some people are trying to make the conflict in South Sudan as if it's between two people, as if it's a political conflict. And if anybody don't speak English, I can go in Arabic. يعني الحرب between خصمين شخصيتين، واحد هو شخص والثاني الشخص الثاني، وهو سلفا كير ورياك مشار. They want to make that kind of like clear. The definition into this conflict, is it accurate the way how some of these characters who are trying to persuade the people that the conflict is between two people and not really there is a deeper root to it that goes beyond the two people. And it's not actually the two people who caused this conflict. The conflict is rooted from the past. So, CJ, I want you to kind of like go ahead and put your input in there. And then later I can put my input. And then Hadassah, I want to welcome you. I want to welcome our panelists who are with us here
Thank
before I
you.
say anything. Um, Hadassah and then CJ. And I know some other groups will come in later. Brother
Thank you. Hello.
Ikatoria's son to come in later. So we wanted to define, yes, to define the conflict in itself. And do you agree with those who are now claiming that the conflict is only between two people and they're the one who led the country to a failure, as they claim? Hello, Bintasu. How are you? Thank you for joining us. So they wanted to say, the conflict is only just between two groups. I mean, two characters who are behind the failure of the country. They are behind the looting and the disorder and the dystopian nation that is now South Sudan. Do you agree with that idea? Or do you agree with that kind of like presumption of saying that this is a conflict between two characters who caused this conflict to evolve to a point that now even the social fabric within the communities are divided because of these characters? Because this is one thing that they are trying to kind of sell it out to us in a way that I don't see eye to eye to it, but maybe you see eye to eye to it, or maybe you see different from me and different from anyone. And can you please go ahead and explain? You can speak in Arabic, English. I think everyone.
Thank you. All right.
نتكلم Arabic if people are comfortable speaking Arabic. Go ahead. شكرا لك.
All right. I try to shift it during this time. Well, mainly, when there's always a problems in a specific country, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, excuse me first, to say,
Yes.
allow me to thank you for the opportunity. And thanks, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, fellow countrymen, wherever you are, the Equatorians in the camps, we're praying, doing all we can, to help get you on board, so that we could talk over all these debate, all these issues regarding Equatoria. Equatoria feels, of course, is our main concern, is something that is very important for us and for our life. It's the future. I say it's Etika. Equatoria's future. Equatorial land is everything in our lives. So to come to a point, mainly, in every situation, such as the one that we're going through, mainly people used to ask, what's your problem? Simply, they used to ask some questions, what is your problem? What's the conflicts? Now, the issue of South Sudan, at the meantime, for me, it looks very complicated. Many people might have misunderstood it. Some used to understand it wrongly. So we're trying to put everything in order correctly. When we come to that particular point, there's always a shift. Some used to say, oh, okay, this complex. Long ago, in 2013, 2015, it was the complex was clear. It was based on what the reporters have put it, is that, it is a power struggle. Someone to define it as if it is a ruling party. Imagine they give the title to the rebels, they say it's the ruling party, conflicts, which is between Kir and Mashar. And some used to define it as if it is, when Mashar, when Kir got fired, Mashar, and then they brought it up and says, well, the conflict was, because those people got fired. So there's some kind of confusion here. Now, the fact of the matter is that, when we come to reality, the starting point was the question that mostly raised itself is that, how did those of SPLA, Kir and Mashar came to take over the government? Yeah, it was really something complicated. So there's some kind of confusion down there. And then followed the corruptions, money laundering, and all that is already there. Then later on, in 2013, 2015, people have come to an awareness that, the conflict is between those two guys who went on initiating that issue, and then it lead to a conflict of fighting between the two tribes. So
May
there were more many rumors.
May I ask you something? May I ask you something? When you
Yeah,
said
sure.
two characters, are you defining that this conflict, when it happened, was it political or was it a tribal base? Because this is the question that people need to know. Was it a political conflict or was it a tribal conflict that then later ended up to be a political conflict? That mean they like almost like what I can define it to you when the conflict of Nuer and Dinka is started in Juba, and then Upper Nile was a hot zone. When they brought the Nuer to Equatoria, especially when Riek Machar came back the second time, 2016, according to the agreement, then they moved the conflict to Equatoria region, which
Well,
is
I can simply say that, if I were to answer that, I will just simply say
uh-huh.
it is a tribal complex.
So it's a tribal conflict. Okay.
Yeah, it is something that, this thing, it has, this thing isn't at all something new. It has been since 1983. The conflicts start from that period of time. By 2000, let's say 12, these things began to develop between the two groups. Even by the time when all those rebels came in, when they entered the country, the Dinka was not happy from Nuer, because the number of Nuer army was higher than the Dinkas. And, looking back to the conflicts, 1991, Dinka, Nuer did get into a fight with Dinka, where Dinka was almost, they were feeling that they had been massacred in a big number. That's why these things developed. So the 2011s, when the country became independent, that was how they start fighting over who can be the ruler of that country, which in nature could have been political. But, mainly if you go deep, you will find it a tribal. Because if at all there were to be some wise individuals among those rebels at the time, they would have been hesitant to say, oh, those people, they should have been protesting and saying, those people shouldn't take the leads. Other people should have taken the leads, but they enforced themselves, of course. So the conflict was clear. For those who was in SPLA, they know it very well. It's a tribal conflict, because ever since that time in 1991, Dinka was not happy. Now, coming to the facts, it was the Dinka who went and assassinates the former rebel, the Dinkas rebels and the Nuer as well. There were some Nuers, people like, I think, Gaitut and all that, they eliminate them. They were there as Anyanya too, accordingly, they used to say. So that's the main conflict. So I can easily conclude that, it is
so the
a
conflict.
tribal complex, not political complex.
There is
Because
one brother said it's a
it is
power
not
struggle.
something that,
Yeah, yeah, I know. But so
well,
according to
power
your,
struggle, that can be the second rounds, but the main point is because those people, when they come back, when they come to the country, they were full of hatred,
true.
they were full of hatred to each other. They were all not happy. Even I remember when this guy who died, the general who died, he came and started using the flag as if he's a president by the time when he entered the country.
You mean John Garen? Who you talk?
No, that guy, I don't know, he died.
Bonino Matip?
Paulina Motif, excellent. Yeah, I heard of this guy, that, he was even, going around Juba, the capital city, going around it as if he's a president with a flag, understand?
Mm-hmm.
So he was having his own, and Dinka were having their own. So there were always a fight over there. So all is about, of course, definitely the word power struggle it is there. but mainly, power struggle over what, over which tribe will take over. That's what it is. So
20,
politics can be a cover up. If you say this is a political conflict or power struggle, that means you're just putting it a covering, which will, you know, not bring us to a real definitions of the war, of these conflicts. Because to this day, as you can see, both groups are not happy with each other. Whoever get a chance, they wanted to take it off. So if at all there's anything at all, they're not going to fight. They will have no nationalisms. There is no spirit of nationalism there. They will
and
always look to the tribes. Thank you.
okay, and I can support you on that idea that this is not a power struggle, as our brother Oliver have mentioned, because if it's a power struggle, it won't be based on ethnic cleansing.
That's correct.
Because when they went inside Juba during 2013, they targeted Nuer specifically, and not only that, you know, how do you Auntie Pita, welcome. But if we go back to the deep, like you said, it makes sense because I mean I was a kid that time. I heard about this Nuer and Dinka conflict during the SPLM. When Riek Machar defected and went to Khartoum, joined Khartoum regime, and then the Nuer start being targeted by the Dinka, and the Dinka start even they killed each other in the UN camp, and it's a very recorded history. It's like a recorded history. It's not even something that been told by others. It's so much recorded. So the conflict is actually based on the tribal, a grudge that have been built within the community since the time that was known to be that Dinka and Nuer have issues. And then during that time, 2015, coming up to 2010, when we became a nation, 2011, the first target at that time was Murle. Even I was shocked. Why Murle is targeted? They said Murle was not likable by Nuer and Dinka tribes. So they began to arm their people and they attacked the Murle. And the Murle was at that time victims. Even the United Nations have spoken out. And the United Nations came up and rebuked both of Riek Machar and Salva Kiir because they claimed they are the one who, like they all hail from Nuer, one hail from Nuer and one hail from Dinka. So they represent their own tribe, So regardless, they use their tribe pawn, but this is the reality. This is the original. This is the roots of where these people are basing their war. It is not something that they are using it for purpose of domination. Because why you want to use your tribe to dominate others and then create disaster within your community? These guys have a conflict that they never resolved through their community, and that's why when I say as Equatorians, we don't share anything with Upper Nile, because the purpose these people, they will bring the ancient history or the ancient problem, like almost like Palestine and Israel, into the issue of that. But between Israel and Palestine is a political now. If you look at it, it's more political than tribal, because Israeli and Palestinians, these guys are fighting for the land, That's even political more, but their land and the idea of who are they, the identity itself too. It comes back to identity, but it came political because of who's gonna be superior in that nation. So today, nation of Israel is running the land of Israel, including Gaza. But even though they gave Gaza a self-autonomy, kinda, but it's still in a somehow, they can go and take the lands of in Palestine anytime they want. This is the Israeli, and they did a deal. Like that's why the peace agreement was dealt. But still, the peace agreement is not securing the rights of the Palestinians compared to between Dinka and Nuer. Dinka and Nuer are not fighting for land. Dinka and Nuer, they are fighting for a grudge. Gabina. It's been ancient, and those people brought in their rebellious time or revolution time, when they were fighting against the Khartoum regime. So the Nuer, if they see the Dinka is playing game, they will go to the north and side with it, and the North will take that, and the North always take advantage on that. The North will give them arms, they will give them arms and they will bring the arms to them, and then those guys will go and kill whoever they want within that territory. So the conflict in itself was SPLM, and this is why I wanted, like, definition of the conflict. We have to be very careful because it's actually a tribal conflict that caused this thing today to be defined. They begin to misdefine it into calling it
Okay.
a national, a political issue or power struggle. But in reality, it's two tribes who caused the conflict, and they could have solved it in a tribal manner. But instead, they allowed it to grow into a political kind of, um, political term, that this is a conflict for power. And they are one party. And remember, they are only coming from one party. They're not different parties. They're one political party. Even if they are a power struggle, they're supposed to have an equal balance, right? Like, why Riek Machar still wanted to be vice president? This is the question itself. Why is he now submitting to the idea of being a vice president? He's supposed to be a person of saying, stand in a way and say, let's wait for the election. Let's agree that we're all going to go to the election to make a decision to that. But they can never do that because none of them believe that the other one have the right, because they look at themselves based on the tribal mindset, not based on the political, disagreement. Because there was a political disagreement, we will be defining it based on the ideology. But there is no ideology between those two guys and
That's
between
right.
between those two tribes. There is no ideology definition to them. What they do is they wanted to just dominate based on their tribe. And you look at the militia they have, which they call themselves army, is only two tribes who are controlling this military, the Nuer and the Dinka. And then the others are just followers. Don't tell me Equatorial don't even have that much number to come even and say they are raising a rebellion. Only recently, when Cirillo defected from them, now the forces in there in Equatoria are fighting as Equatorian force independently, but it still cannot give that definition of power struggle in any manner. Because if we put definition to power struggle, that means we are discrediting the truth, and then we're giving the power to those guys to say that they are acceptable within the whole community, when Nuer and Dinka are not the only tribe in South Sudan. We have so many tribes. So where is the other tribes are represented? They're not represented. Even if you look at the agreement, the agreement is only between those two characters and between those two tribes, because all it gives the power to the tribes, and then they will use their puppets like in Equatoria to go there and governors to go and rule these places. That's why you see those governors now are appointed. Even in Upper Nile, imagine if you want to know, even if that was a power struggle, why are they rejecting what's his name? The guy in Upper Nile in Malakal, what's his name? Um, Johnson Oleng.
Yeah, that's
That
right.
shows you something about these guys. So there is a question behind that. And if they look at this guy based on his ethnicity, based on where he come from, because Johnson Oleng say, I'm fighting for my land and fighting for my tribe. While he is joining IO, yes, but he stood his ground straightforward and said, I'm fighting for my land and for my tribe. He's not fighting for the idea of IO, because he don't believe in IO that's going to bring his solution, but he armed these people, make sure that we got to defend. If IO will support us to gain our territory back, then I am standing with them. So they kept that ideology straightforward, not even ideology, but they kept that fact, or they are going after their land, not going after political ideology or position. Even Oleng never complained about position. Up to this moment, we never heard from Oleng complaining if they don't appoint him or not. But he's worried about his territory that is going to be taken by
That's
other
correct.
tribes.
That's correct.
So this conflict is a tribal conflict and not a political conflict, and not even the word power struggle. Because if power struggle, that means it would be like, for example, between who? I can give you a nation that has like Sisi and Mursi. That's a power
Okay.
struggle, because
Okay.
Mursi overthrow Mursi, and overthrew all the Akhwan al-Muslimin, or the Islamic Brotherhood, out of the power, and then he brought in new faces that are more similar and supportive to the army of Egypt. And because they saw that Sisi was trying to dominate the whole country into Islamic fundamentalism, so that would be called a power struggle. Because if Sisi noticed that, he would have, because Sisi feared that kind of moment, but he kind of lost it when he went to giving the power to Mursi. I mean, Ahmed Sisi. I mean, and Mursi was like, thought maybe Sisi will be more kind of like acceptable to his ideology, but he didn't know that Sisi was actually against Mursi, until when Sisi found the right time to destroy him. He actually did that. He did a coup and he overthrew him until Mursi died in prison, died in house arrest, whatever, died from heart attack. So what I'm saying is, between Mursi and Assisi, that's a power struggle. But between Kir and Riek Machar and the whole organization of the SPLM, it's a tribal conflict, because SPLM from the start in the history in the past, they always had this issue. The Nuer will defect, you know, they will always defect and go to the north, and then you see the Nuer will kill each other with Dinka in camps, or kill each other in the ground. So it's really sad. This is the reality of what this nation has been. I would say it's been a hostage to a tribal mindset regime, a tribal mindset, a tribal organizations, or tribal leadership that is that is holding the country right now. So Riek Machar and Salva Kiir are not fit. Yes, we know they're not fit, but also the whole organization of SPLM is not fit to even run the country, because one, we know the history of definition of the conflict itself. Then we go look back into the history of SPLM, and this is going to be a next topic, not today, because SPLM in itself was created for a tribal base, and that's why we always remind our Equatorian brothers and sisters that they must know why when we come up and speak as Equatorians, because there is nothing else in this nation will give Equatorian their right. I'm telling you, if you're gonna say this is a power struggle, you're gonna believe that if Kir and Machar go, we will get our land, we will get our right. You are dreaming, you are lying to yourself, because nothing will happen. Only you will see another worse enemies, worse dictators, or worse tribal leaders will come up and destroy Equatoria forever. So
Kind of protection, yeah,
yeah,
that's right.
this is Equatoria. This is a tribal conflict in its purest form. There is nothing else you can define it than that. Because these guys are trying to lie to us, say, oh, it's only Kir and Machar. Then why they're not condemning Jing Council? Why they're not condemning how SPLM was created? SPLM was created in a tribal base. SPLM started targeting other tribes when they started in war.
That is true.
They started the killing of other tribes from Nuer to Bahr al-Ghazal, targeting. Even they killed whatever, I forgot his name, Kolmanyang. What's the name? The guy?
John.
Garbino Kwan.
Yeah,
Garbino Kwan was murdered, assassinated. Then you got Joseph Oduhu was assassinated. All this was based, even when the SPLM was targeting Mundari in their territory until Clement took arms and fought them. That was the purpose. And then they start going into other areas in Equatoria. So SPLM in reality it's a tribal organization from its roots.
It is true.
But Equatorians, we are trying to denounce it, they're trying to deny it based on fear of criticism. Listen, we know the truth. Nothing can stop the truth there. So why don't you embrace the truth and accept it and fight for your right? Because this nation cannot go forward with this organization, with the SPLM regime, the tactic and the politics that they're playing right now, because now they gained the upper hand because Equatoria are signing with them. If Equatoria abstained signing paper with them, does not agree with joining them in any agreement, saying that you guys are tribalistic group, we need to kind of like define the whole thing. First of all, you need to step aside, both of you. You need to take all your militia out of the territory, go back to your territorial area, and we need to form a real government based on a real constitution, based on a real kind of system that will unify and bring truth to all the tribes. Because nobody's acknowledged, only Dinka and Nuer acknowledged in this agreement. Look back to the agreement, if it was 2016 or 2018. These agreements are all based on what? On first peace agreement, comprehensive, no, not comprehensive, the peace agreement between IO and SPLM, and then you go to the comprehensive peace, revitalized peace agreement. If you look at the whole paper, it always empowers the Dinka and Nuer to be in power. Because who's in the top? The Dinka Nuer. They, even right now, look at the 5 vice presidents. Who are in the top? All of them from Upper Nile. Only one Equatorian, Waniga. That's the only one. So this is
excuse me. If we were to put it clear, to define it in a way, if you say, if one were to say this is a power struggle, who gave them power? Nobody gave them the power.
Nobody, yeah.
They just came up and hijacked it. So mainly, the issue is actually, defining it as a political issue. That means you are even depriving the others, the vast majority of the South Sudanese.
Or the tribes.
Yeah. You are depriving their rights, by saying, because those people, nobody had even, by 2011, let's say, in 2011, nobody brought them up to take over the government. It was because of their attitudes, ever since 2005, the way how Nuer becomes the second in command is because Dinka were fearing, of course. They were fearing that, along the way, those people may cause them some trouble. So they were so hesitant, they were very, very curious to give those people the second in command. And then they move with it, even during that elections, people are now talking about elections, 2030, 2023, and that, the best way for Kir to step down is, through, we have to reach the elections. No, that will be a lose case for people of South Sudan, for those people of that country, or Equatoria, Great Equatoria. They are going to lose totally. They're going to be, they are going to pay dearly because, there will be no chance at all. They will still take over the power. That happens. It happens in 2010, in a similar way that, Lam was there. He was Kennedy tried to compete with Kir when Kir decided to push him out. So all in all, the tribal conflicts. This is a tribal complex. That's what leads to this issue. Now, coming to the year 2016, if you could see that particular situations. Now, both of them decide to transfer the war directly to the Equatorian regions, and then the entire country. So that's the kind of tactics, so that they could dominate in a way or another, which I fear, by putting it as political, and then you're even, you're not giving the others the right, other than saying that, this is the power. No, this is not a regime. This is just a regime. There's no, it shows us that those are a kind of coup. They overthrow the people rights, and then they took it over. They took over the right of the people because it's the people who went and vote. So people should understand that, by defining it as a political conflict, and then we are totally in a parallel lines with the facts that, what those people have in mind is what goes back to the years 1991. That's what I'm saying. So we have to be very serious. So when it comes to the second group, let's say the IGAD itself, how do those of IGAD define this war? Definitely, their points is that, it is a political conflict.
Before I go to the IGAD, there is in that question, just to make sure that I have it right. So yeah, the definition. Okay, so we got into that. The definition of SPLM and IGAD. Now you're going to go to IGAD. Yes, go to IGAD. Sorry. So the definition of this war.
Yeah, the way how, of course, the way how, how those of IGAD are defining it is as it's a political power struggle. That's what they put it, and they mainly used to say, "Oh, those are the elites and all that." No, they are not elites. How come that they are supposed to be termed? The clear definitions. To define this regime, this is a kind of coup. This is what they lead is a coup. Those both tribes are now leading a campaign against the other tribes without giving them the right. In 2015, those people are supposed to step down. They're supposed to get out of the way. It is unfortunate because if there is a conflict in, let's say, a party, if we are to fight in a party, if we have a party and then we fight in there, that would have been a party conflict, not the country conflict, or not some kind of political complex that you can say. It's something within the party. Now, both one party, the same party, which took over the government by force, because it was not SPLA alone that fought in South Sudan. There are more many parties, factions.
Other rebellions, other rebels in the country.
Even other rebels movements,
And then the
There
guy
were
where
Equatorial Defense Force,
yeah,
and there are those, others such as Anyanya One and
yes, this guy
Anyanya One and all that. All
yeah,
those people that were there. So it is totally wrong, for SPLA to come and took over.
hijacking. Yeah.
Yeah, even by the time when Gereng was a representative of all these factions, war factions, then they just sneak in and took over everything to themselves. Try to hijack it, of course. It's tribal minor, and then later on they start pushing the others out, dominating. As you can see today, they are now dominating everything in the country. Which means they are not going to share this power except the government, the regimes. They are not going to share the power except with the SPLA themselves.
And
So
to
leaving
add,
the others aside, which is bad.
and to add,
So
sorry.
so of course, when you come to IGAD, those of IGAD, and IGAD very well. IGAD shouldn't even been, they were supposed, well, the earlier days they would have been the mediators, but later on, when people began to figure out, the behavior, I mean, the way how those people began to handle this complex issue, straight up to Nifasha and Ethiopia and all that, with those people rejecting to honor the agreements and all that, they're supposed to be called aside, to step down, at least during earlier that times. It's unfortunate. They gave them the chance to continue. That's what brought us to this point of conflict. So this is, precisely, that's what is going on in that country. When the same, whatever IGADs may say will always be the picture worldwide or internationally or in media and all that. So they are the dominants now. They're the one dominating all these issues, these particular conflicts, as if just defining it their way that this is a political complex, and even they went on admitting Mashar to be an oppositions. Yeah, which doesn't look, which sounds odd, because how comes that one party could be an oppositions? If we were to look at parliaments that they have established at that very time, there should be some opponent at that very times. People should have figured it out at that very times. Opposition would have been clear. The guy was in a government. So how should you define that, this man's an opposition? Something that has never happened in the worldwide, in a democratic government, where you could see a party like SPLA, supposedly, if we were to say SPLA, because SPLA has never been a party yet, because they didn't lay down their guns. That violate the right of party. To become a party, you don't have to hold arms and say I'm a party, a political party. That's not a political party. That is a militia. That's a rebel there. That means they remains rebels to this day. One of the reasons that if indeed were to resolve the issue of that conflict, then SPLA need to step down, like the way how those of Anyanya ones did step down. Anyanya one didn't come and complain and pretend that they are a political party and at the same time a ruling party. No, they didn't do that. So with Bashir, probably I wonder, Bashir don't mind about it. As a dictator, he don't mind. He want us to, he want to mess the situations, our situations as South Sudanese, so that we get to that deep trouble. That's what it is. Because the way how Nimeri handled things in 1972 was totally different than compared to what Bashir, the way how Bashir was looking to those SPLA. They start from the starting points, they start screening the rebels, turning them to a national army. Now, this would have been implemented in South Sudan, but nobody cares about it. The same SPLA who came, the same rebels who were there, they came up with all their power, all right, taking over the government, kicking out everyone's, in the forces, without knowing, without having any knowledge of leaderships. They just came and took it. That's what caused all this trouble we're now living, all these conflicts. So still we could see people defining it as what? A political conflicts. No, that's not a political complex. That is indeed political conflicts, politically, this can be a secondary thing, but the primary point is this is a tribal conflict. As you can see, every moment, wherever they are, they're always looking to their tribes. It is their tribes who are benefiting. It is their tribes who are getting the big share than any other. They are the ones who are dominating and all that. That is what it is. So that is simply what I can say. Hello, Erika, are you there?
Yes, CJ and Mark. Hadassah, you're here. I don't know if you want to input. Like my brother Equatoria's son is here. في حاجة واحدة نذكر. طبعا I'm gonna go a little bit in Arabic. الأخوان اللي ما قاعدين يفهمونا بالإنجليزي عربي بالإنجليزي. الحرب ده هم ده يعملوها قال ده شنو؟ power struggle. أنا ما أعرف power struggle عربي بيقولوا شنو؟
صراع بين السلطة صراع السلطة
ولا صراع ايوه صراع السلطه.
صراع السلطه بيجي ثانوي، ده موضوع ثانوي.
لا انا قلت طبعا ده حسب التعريف بتاع الحركه الشعبيه وايجاد، على اساس طبعا ايجاد قاعد يمشي على whatever SPLM بيقول. فانت ما تنسى SPLM قاعد يدير رشاوي، ما ننسى الموضوع ده.
الهدف منه شنو؟ ابحام العالم، عاوزين يبحموا العالم. زي هسه هم قاعد يقولوا انه شنو؟ دي حرب اهليه. قال انه حرب اهليه، دي ما حرب اهليه، دي حرب اهليه.
انا جاي في الكلام ده. ما this is why those guys are trying to
there is a tactics here. People are playing some tactics.
Yes, I'm trying to come to it just to define it, because you said your point. And أنا بدي نقول حاجة مهم جدا. And no, the people that who are now using the word power struggle and then call it civil war, that's just because عندهم أهداف معين. They have a specific mission or objective, is that they wanted to kind of like silence everyone who's calling for their land, for their right as other tribes, and put that thing as a national issue. That's what the Chef was saying, on national dialogue. Why are they using that word national dialogue when in reality there is no national unity within the people?
It cannot be a political when there is when there is no government. This is rebels who came in وقان بتاعهم كله بأسلحة بتاعهم كله, then they took over. يعني international world and regional world those mediators should take care, should say, silence your gun, put your guns down, all right, and then go there and then form a government. The three regions should form a government. That would have been a healthy thing to do. مش تيجي هناك مثلا تيجي الريبل يجي هناك بسلاح بتاعه. يعني فرضنا انه مثلا like those who stormed the White House recently. What do you think if they were to take the government? Will you call them politicians? As it? Will it be called rebels or terrorists? You will call them terrorists.
I don't disagree with you. I agree with you 100%. But I'm not going to fit definition, because we have to make sure the word definition there to this conflict, so Equatorial must not be lost, is that brother Equatorial فيك تعمل ميوت second, تعمل ميوت بس عشان لما تيجي دورك انا بديك فرصه. yeah sorry عشان لانه في echo من هناك. تعمل ميوت بس. yeah so what I'm trying to define هنا انه الموضوع بتاع الconflict ده, as we see, the conflict is clearly a conflict between two tribes who are now dominating the whole country based on their military force, military equipment they have. Because if you look,
tribal militia,
yeah, armed to the teeth. Most of them are militia from the tribe, because when if you look back in the history of SPLM, when they established themselves, Dinka established themselves in Bor, while Nuer established themselves in Nasser. And
they outlaws people. They are outlaws. They are not supposed to take the country. They are not.
Dinka, compared to Nuer, Dinka evolved during the time when they connected with the other nations like Ethiopia, supporting them like Mengistu, and then going to وخرطوم ناس منو زول منصور Khalid. Then it evolved. That organization of SPLM began to kind of shape a new shape, because the Equatorian who are at that time following SPLM, how it established, they know clearly the SPLM was built for a tribe. But
That's
SPLM
true.
kind of like switched their language, switched their tactic in saying that we are fighting for the whole South Sudan, or for the Sudan. First they were communists, then said it. That's why today, even some people trying to say, what is really define SPLM itself? Like what SPLM, like if you were to look at SPLM, yeah, and if you confusion, what is SPLM in reality? هل SPLM هو communist ولا هو democratic ولا هو Republican ولا هو going to liberal or conservative? Nobody can tell, because it's clear Dinkanism in all idea. And when we say that, people say we're hateful. But let's go back. Why then a regime, by all the power they have, which is the money, the economic power they have, uh,
Mm.
the military power they have, they took that from the people without legitimacy, based on coming into forcing themselves into the government, into the country, by saying, calling themselves they're the government. And the people did not object. This is the failure of the people. This is why I say the failure of Equatorian, especially. Let's not talk about the other group. Let's talk about ourselves as Equatorian.
Yeah,
We
at this particular time, what I can say, Atika, is that, those people are now hanging on Equatoria. They wanted to take the land of
I know.
Equatoria so that they can, profit from their resources and all that, because if you look to their areas, like the petrol that we are talking about, it's not any longer. This petrol is not any longer, even leave alone that, the agreements that the agreement that they reach with Khartoum give Khartoum a bigger share than what we have as thousands.
Yes. I don't
So
want.
it is now, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't want to take also time from our two panelists who are here, Hadassah and brother Equatoria's
I'm,
son, who's
I'm
here
good.
with us too. So Hadassah, do you have any input on that? So I can give brother Equatoria also an input, because I was in all of us to kind of like get into it deeper, to kind of like analyze what we're talking about, and people who are listening to us can actually, you know, uh, be able to kind of like challenge that thoughts of saying that ihna kulana, we are all suffering. It's only Kir and Riek Machar, and this is a civil war. It's a power struggle, and it's not really a tribal conflict as people trying to base it. When we come up and speak about it, it's a tribal base, because we see the whole facts, but they don't want to acknowledge it. They don't want to acknowledge Jin Council. They don't want to acknowledge that SPLA started as a tribal organization and still continue the tribal method, or the tribal mindset that is built since 1983 up to this time, is still going following this. And you could see it in Jongereng. Jongereng, when he came to power, I mean, when he died, immediately that guy, what's his name? Ismanuda. Salva Kiir came into power. So I don't know what's your input in that, and plus the definition of the war in itself, the conflict. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to greet you guys all, plus the audience which are watching.
Yes, yes,
For me, like, sorry, you said the definition of the
yes.
conflict
The definition of the
war.
conflict in itself. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Well, I thought this conflict is just consistent of these two tribes. Like, if you look at it, like, nobody is really in conflict right now in South Sudan apart from the two tribes, the Nuer and the Dinka. And it goes back to, they claim it in 1990, Kam Hinak, but then the one that I could pick it up is like the 2003, whereby like Kir is accusing Riek Machar of, like, wanting to create a coup. But then Riek Machar obviously denied it, that no, he's not trying to start something like that. And it led to like big problems that, they begin to massacre Nuer from door to door. And it went on and on and on. We just keep going back and forth, back and forth. So here to me, it's like I just want Equatorians to know clear that, we have nothing to do with this conflict that is happening in South Sudan. We should not identify ourselves with it. We should not be part of it, because we have never even started any conflict yet in the history of South Sudan, since we have been joined together with South Sudan as Equatorians. Since our nation has been joined together, we have never created any conflict at all. This conflict has always been brought to us from day one by these people and among themselves. Then they will come within us and they will start this barbaric act. And what is the other one you said? Hello.
Me? You hear me? Hello?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What
Yeah,
is the
you mentioned that the conflict, it's we didn't start the conflict and we're not part of the conflict. Then if
mm,
somebody now in our time just asking from outside, he's not South Sudanese, saying that right now we hear Cirillo is in the group of fighting the regime. Is he not
mm.
Equatorian? And if he's an Equatorian, why you say you're not part of this conflict? How could you answer them?
Like this is
I
a
mean,
good
and ask
question.
this
It
question to all of us, to all of us. If
yeah,
you want to
this
give
is
it
a
to,
good.
if you don't want to pass it, you don't want to answer it, you can pass it to CJ or to brother Equatoria's son, and we can debate that because I know even the answer for my because this is a question gonna happen, especially the Westerners, they will ask you this, you know. So we will say,
I will
yes,
try my best to answer it, but then
yes,
also I think I believe that you guys would answer it better than me. I'm
nah,
thinking like for me, it's like
you do better, you're good,
Cirillo. Cirillo is
yeah,
just because he was one of the power holders. You know, he was part of the SPLM. They went to to the bush together, and they've been in war together, and they come together, and they came together, and he was promised a position and that. So actually, Cirillo has nothing to do. He doesn't supposed to be having anything to do with the conflict, but because of his own interest, for me, I'm just looking at it that way because he just like want to be in power. He wants to hold on to position. That's why he's in the middle of this mess, you know. But to be honest, it really has nothing to do with this conflict. He's supposed to be out of it as an Equatorian. He's supposed to stay away. He's supposed to mentor his own Equatorians. He's supposed to lead Equatorians and even
True,
create a
true.
Equatorian
how
defense.
confident, how confident are you based on that Cirillo is fighting for his own self-interest? I mean, if you don't mind, I ask this because sometimes people ask because sometimes we need to kind of like
Mhm.
elaborate to our people
Um,
why. If somebody asks you, how do you know that? How confident are you? I mean, this is one thing that we need to understand. You know,
we can tell. We can tell. It's like what do you say? Like people say looks can tell. Well, you can read in between. The
I got
lines
you. Read the
because
line.
yeah, you can read in between the lines because it's like Cirillo is neither one of the two tribes to begin with.
Yes,
He
it's not
is part
red
of
or
the
Dinka.
Equatoria. Yeah, he's part of Equatoria where his people are the one being dominated and suffering, and his region is being occupied by these people.
Yes.
And because he felt, I think it's something of like a failure that it's like you felt your failure, and then secondly, he panicked. He doesn't know what is gonna become of him. It's like the only way is to hold to power, to cling to power, or to get money or to be recognized is to stick with the SPLA. You know,
Mm-hmm.
just let the pattern keep going and
I
put them
just want to tell
colonize.
you something,
Mm,
Hadassah, with
yeah.
what you said, Die Hard or Cirilo Die Hard will get a bit offended, Like you see, say you're lying. What
No, they
about Thomas
shouldn't.
Taylor? Yeah,
No,
I
they
know.
shouldn't.
Excuse me,
They shouldn't
excuse me.
really. They
This
should
is
be
the way
open
how
to
they
minded.
see it.
Can I interject?
And
Because
if we were
sometimes
wrong
they
too,
can't comprehend it through the analysis, through
no.
analyzing the reality. And I understand, I respect you. You
Mm,
analyze it based on facts, not
yeah,
based on
yeah.
emotion,
We're
based
looking at
on
it
because
at
he
different
relates to me,
angles.
or he's from my
My
tribe,
yeah,
or
yeah.
he's
My Jama,
You look at it
we are
in the
the one.
fact that this guy belonged to SPLM, and there is
Mm,
something about SPLM that questionable in manner and character based on
mm-hmm,
starting from the background of SPLM.
mm.
Those Equatorians who joined SPLM, especially who got promoted to
I
the,
was
to
gonna
the,
come to
to the,
that.
to
Yeah,
the rank. Yeah, I'll
yeah,
give you a chance. To the
yeah.
rank of generals and
Mm,
officers. Those guys have given up so much of themselves and their community to the point that the Dinka will trust them, to the point that will appoint them officers in that group. Because Dinka will never appoint you if you speak out the facts. Just to be honest with this, I know some people don't like the language where
That
we
is
say
true.
they call us Ehna, we are against Cirillo, but it's not. But let
no,
us
no,
let
we're
us
not
go.
actually.
It's
No,
not
no,
Cirillo only. It's not
no.
Cirillo only. There is a lot of Equatorian who are
We're
gaining
happily to welcome
position.
Cirillo back
Yazo let's
to
monuda.
Equatoria,
JJ
out of
Akoda, let's monuda.
the
Who's the
SPLM. Yeah.
Equatorian? JJ
Mm,
Akoda. Who min when? Who much min Gabila ta East Equatoria in the side of East Equatoria. What did he do? He get power. He get money. He get all that. But he is selling his people cheap because he want power than wanting to be honest with himself and say, I stand for my people. Because if he's really a brave man, he will not go and be a Danaba or like a tail to those guys to use him. يعني
You mean Lobong, is that right?
all these governors, all these guys, they have sold themselves cheap. So they gave up their tribe and their territory for the sake of power and position. So when we say this, we got to be clear. Even those who go out and say now they are opposition, some of them we have to ask the question, where are they when they are opposition? Because I know when terrorists, like going back to the terrorists, when they fight in the ground in terrorism, like in ISIS, most of the officers, the ISIS Catalom, they were fighting jihad for the name of whom can inspire their soldiers. Whom ran away and stood somewhere countries and claiming they're fighting, while they don't even give a direction of military strategies how to fight and kill and destroy the enemy. يا اخي جوبا ده بتاعك انت من جوبا انت بتعرف بيتك ده كله. Are you still scared of going to Juba?
Let me interject. Can I interject here?
Sorry.
Hello?
But no, but she's saying, but she's continuing, so I can give her. Just hold that thought, CJ. Kali, you finish it, and then because then brother Ikatoria's son, and then I'll give you.
I just want to say that we
And I
can,
was
we
gonna
can see the
talk on that.
pattern. Yeah, Jamal, we can see the pattern of SPLA. We can see everybody that is an SPLA. You can see their pattern, how they work. Like they love this thing that is called like we sit down and sit down for a peace talk, dialogues, and munu munu dak there. They like this kind of things. They're not really straightforward into like resolving all these conflicts that are caused by the two tribes, or they're not into stabilizing the country, bringing peace, development, and stuff like that. But they're just like looking into their pockets and their greeds. And these people, these generals, which you mentioned them, like Nasirilo, Lobong, Nas Munu, these are the side wings that are helping these two tribes. They're picking sides because the money is coming in. I'm pretty sure, like they're still being donated by money. That's why they're doing these activities. Because I can say this really confidently. I don't know who's gonna get offended, but that's the truth. Yajima, we're the one outside the box. We should look within the box and find out what is happening within the box. You cannot just act like you're within the box, Nasirilo, if Nasirilo are not seeing. In fact, we're the only people that actually cared about Cirillo, other than the people that are pretending that they care about Cirillo, but not telling him the truth, not speaking out the truth, not pointing out the errors, and the weaknesses so that he can begin to see. Now if somebody's telling you always that what you're doing is wrong, you should look into what you're doing is wrong so that you can adjust yourself, so that Cirillo can have option. If he want to get out of where he is one day, he can still adjust himself to where he belongs. I just wanted to say this. If it is really like a reality that Nasrilo after the benefit of people of the South Sudan or Equatoria, as the Equatorians will claim that they waletna, there's all Tanata Equatoria. So I would say this. What doesn't make sense to me is like they come out on the media and they speak out saying that walai kir batal, walai munu munu munu, walai kida kida kida, kir da lazim yimshi, kir must go, kir must go. But the thing is here, why do you want to go back and sign peace revitalization agreement with Kir, who is batal lazim yimshi? Why do you sit down in a table with this person? The killer, the murderer, the rapist, the thief, the looter, Zol Wahshida, why do you sit down with him? Why do you go and eat with the devil on the table? Why do you go marry with the devil? Why do you do that? If you say that he's bad and you want him to go, 1 minute they run around, you will see them. They run around and they start.
I wouldn't even negotiate with him. I wouldn't negotiate with him.
Yeah. Thank you, CJ. They run around and sit on the table. Like sit on the table, very happy. They're going to sign peace agreement. They're going to see it, and they're broadcasting it and munu munu. 1 minute things doesn't go well with them, and then they come back on the media and started saying stuff like Kir must go. Zato, the policies that the government has done is not good. They like criticizing the government, calling it the government and stuff like that. I don't really understand what is the agenda of these people. They should stick with one. Because at the end of the day, I just know that the SPLM, that's it. Because why do you still want to go back? We have seen an example with Riek Machar, what happened to him when he went back. He's now a nobody. The guy is just a nobody.
That's true.
He's been marched left and right. So why would you guys want to be going back there to be deleted and to be muted and to do nothing, not to move left and right, and just nothing apart from getting paid and just sit there, and even just making your people more vulnerable, like those of Lobong are doing, which is shame on them, really. Shame on them clearly on what is happening to their own people, while in their in the daylight, in the broad daylight, and in the night, what is happening to their people, and then they just here caring about their pockets, caring about their positions, caring about their greeds, caring about how to marry with this Denka
Selfish,
regime.
selfish, selfish.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yes, that's
you're right.
selfish.
You're right. You're
That
Yeah.
right.
that is
Yeah.
true.
So
I know.
I'm just wondering to myself, why would I, in this day and age, whereby all the nations of the earth are seeking really advancements towards their their countries, you know the East Africans are moving forward, even though they have their little complaints going on, but they're going forward, But meanwhile, South Sudan is not going anywhere, but it's just going to the ditch. It's sinking even more than what it has sunk. But then we have our nation. But then we have generals, which are they calling themselves only their generals and their wives. But then also it turns out that they just headless chooks, like these two tribes. They dug themselves deep with manas. There's something in SPLA. I don't know what it was, the water or the food they ate or what. I don't even understand. But something about SPLA once and SPLA it's just is a problem. You got few SPLS, few brothers that went there with a mindset that really that they thought they were going to fight and liberate their people. But then when they went there, they saw the things that they saw, and I'm proud of them. When they come back, they're spoken the truth and they're standing for Equatoria. But then there are most of these brothers that they came back, they had such change completely. All they could think about is just the Hizib. All they could think about is just the party of the SPLA, the mentality of the SPLA, the mentality of the conflict, the mentality of the dodginess, the mentality of the peace agreement, and we've seen like um these two parties, like we know that this regime is run by two parties, which is like the opposition and
It's
and
two
the
tribes
regime.
actually. It's not
Two
even two
tribe,
parties.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
it is
not a party
consistent
because
of the two
they don't even
tribes. Yeah.
understand the meaning of politics. Because if they
Mm-hmm.
understand politics, we will never be in a conflict. We will be in harmony, like
Mm,
Republican Democrat. But they will be the one who control the system. But they can't even
exactly.
agree on the system by itself. So these two tribes are not in harmony with the system. That's why you see them are fighting each other because they want to dominate. Yes, it's a power struggle, but it's not the power struggle that people who use it political term. It's actually a tribal struggle for power. That's what it's supposed to be
That
turned.
is
Thank
true.
you, please.
That is correct.
A
Thank you.
power struggle, a
But
tribal struggle for power. Yeah.
thank you. But we have seen this done on and on and on. As the decades is passing, we have seen this being done. Yalla, from time to time, you will see after they created a conflict, 1 minute they will like kill each other brutally, munu munu, all this horrible killing, the bloodshed and munu, or they like start terrorizing each other, and then from time to time you'll see the government, the regime leader comes out, Kir, and they've started like you know giving out messages, pretending that they're giving out messages of hope, saying that, declaring that an end to the killing, to the civil war and munu munu da, making peace and stuff like that, and then leave it at that, and then go back inside and ignite another conflict inside. You know,
Yeah, learning
yeah.
development. Yeah.
This is just what has been going on and on and on. But then we Equatorians were here sitting down, just like naga dimnas the best naga dimnas the best watch. Even we are falling victims in their hands, and we are watching. And then we're watching, and then we allowed us to be also confused by these people, listening to the messages of like, Jama, let's unite. Inna lo best unite, let Kir go. Kir go where? Kir is not going anywhere at the moment. These
I
people want
know.
to keep Kir and then let him die in the power, or if they're moving him, another Kir is coming. Their brother is coming in power.
Yeah, you need to
They want
tell.
you Equatorians, yeah.
Yeah,
They want us Equatorians to stay in unity with them. Why they govern us? Why they rule us? According to what they want, according to the dysfunctional system that they're doing. They want us to get diluted into them. Like when you have the cordial drink, you pour water, mix it around, and you drink. They want us to be part of them. You can't.
that
It's not anymore thick.
so
It's
they
not
can be the
anymore like
masters,
quick and stuff,
and
but it's mixed. Yeah, yeah. So they want us to be part of them so that we can just like
Yeah.
run
Can
the
I give?
country like
Yeah.
madness.
Go ahead. Sorry. But
Yeah,
just can like give a chance to also brother Wilson. I mean
yeah,
brother.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
Okay,
yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
leave it at this.
Good. Okay. You leave
I'll
it at that.
I'll leave it at this. Let them talk too, because so that we have
Yeah.
some
Okay.
time.
Brother. Brother Hinai. Equatoria, son. welcome. Unmute yourself. And I got to call Wilson. So Wilson, I got this money. Make sure you mute yourself while brother Ikatoria's son speaks out. So I'm calling him, but go ahead to get this money.
Thank you, Etika, and the panelists, and all people who are listening. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I hear you clear.
Yeah, thank you. And this is a very, very good topic because if you don't know where you're going, you cannot go. You cannot arrive at
Yes.
your location.
Wilson,
Yes?
mute yourself. Mute yourself, brother. Equatoria got to talk. When in Taha, to put your input. Khalik Mana. Yeah, in a live answer. So yeah, thank you. I'm to call. So go ahead. Go ahead, brother Equatoria. Further.
Okay, yeah. I said if you don't know where you're going, you cannot arrive where you're going. And for the definition, I'm going to be brief. For the definition of the conflict in South Sudan, people beat around the bush. But for me, and to most Equatorians, it is very clear. The root cause of the problem, the definition of the problem, is the Dinka's appetite to dominate the political, social, and economic affairs of the country. And this one is hinged in the dominant philosophy of the Dinka born to rule. The born to rule mentality is the definition of the conflict. SPLM began as a protest against corporate people. People don't want to say it, but that is it. When the demonstration happened in 1993, with the intention of Barghazal, Equatoria, and Upper Nile going to have a self-rule, when these people went back to their area, the only place that is really has some semblance of development in Barghazal is Wow. The rest of the place, there's nothing. The only place got some semblance of development in Upper Nile is Malakal, belongs to the Sulu. Jungule was nothing. So when these people went there, they found nothing. And then the only thing is to go to the bush, to rebel, and come back to Juba and take power by force and force themselves on people, changing that on the born to rule mentality. So on the surface, they say, it is a power struggle within SPLM, or it is the Nuer want to take power, or what. But the real issue is the Dinka's appetite to dominate the political, social, and economic affairs of South Sudan. And the Jenge want to implant themselves. They want to implant themselves in every state, current state of South Sudan, including Equatoria. While he was setting up, I went to listen to a debate about cows in the Lake State media. This Lake State media is a mouthpiece of the national security, is a mouthpiece of the government. They pretend that they are neutral, they bring everybody there, but if you go there, they're just going to collect information because one of the conditions is show us your face. Without you showing your face, we are not going to allow you to talk.
Yep. I remember that.
Wow.
And this is what they're doing. Charles went there. Today, I have to really give credit to Charles Itahile, the only guy who went there courageously and put a point across. You know, what I got from there is this. We can live, we have the right to live everywhere in South Sudan. The cows in Nibule have the right to stay there, but the local government got to regulate the cows from destroying the crop. And then the contradiction here. One of them came and said, okay, when we were one Sudan, the Arab tribes used to come with the cows from the north to graze in the south, and then they go back. And then you see, he did not know that this is different. They are not, the Jenge are not coming to graze in Equatoria and going back. They are coming to stay.
That is true.
If the Arabs were coming to stay in northern Upper Nile, in those Barghazal, they would have dominated that place. They would have been there. But they are coming with a seasonal migration. They come during the dry season, and then when the rain starts coming, they go back with everything. They come with their wives, they come with their children.
Mm-hmm.
But these guys are immigrating to settle. And then another focus thing which I wish our ladies can understand. Oh, we have intermarried from there, and then these people married from us. It's not true. They are the only one who take women by force, and we don't marry from them because most Equatorians don't have the imaginary cows that they ask to marry from there.
Even we are not even into that idea of marrying with other people who are non-Equatorian. This is one thing our Equatorians are known. It's not like an insult, but it's our culture, because our culture is not similar with them. You know.
Not like that. Honest to say, these people they don't know how to cook other than milk.
That is true. It is sad. That is true.
Equatoria, we want to eat mula combo. We want to eat this our traditional dishes,
which is cultural. Yeah.
Those ladies cannot cook a single of our traditional dishes, not even fish. Once upon a time, one of our guys who was deployed in Warab to go and work there, he got involved with a lady and he was forced to marry the lady. The lady cooked for us tilapia with everything inside, with the scales, with the intestines. Tilapia. If you cannot cook a simple tilapia, what do you know how to cook? Anyway, so these people want to settle in Equatoria, and then they think when SPLM came in, they will just settle and then everybody will be quiet. Before I go to that, so the information they give to IGAD that it is a power struggle within SPLM. Some people want to take power by force. These people don't know our tribes.
Exactly.
International community, they don't know how many tribes are there in South Sudan. For them, we are all the same like Chinese. IGAD doesn't know how many tribes are there in South Sudan. For them, we are all South Sudanese. So the information they get is that, oh, there are some people who want to take power by force. And since most of the countries in IGAD are dictatorship, and they like the status quo, they like the weakness of the leadership in South Sudan. That is how they define the conflict. So they took the definition from the definition of SPLM, from the Jenge definition of the conflict. The Jenge said it is a power struggle. IGAD took it as a power struggle. The international community took it as a power struggle. No one has taken a proper research to find out the root cause, that it is the Dinka mentality of born to rule, and they want to dominate everything without anything.
That's correct.
That is the thing. So IGAD is a very weak organization.
It's a deceptive. I would say it's a deceptive organization. It's trying to they're trying to deceive the world for the sake of appeasing the Dinka regime, because it's a Dinka regime. Let's be clear. I know the Dinka hate that word, but it's the reality, because they are building Jing Council, making sure they بقولوا شنو يعني يثبت موقع بتاع دينكا في the country as if هم are majority. So اتفضل.
Yeah. IGAD did not start as a conflict resolution agency. It started as a drought, as an organization to solve the issue of climate change, to solve the issue of drought in the region.
Wow, and now they move to politics.
As they start getting out of running out of funding, they twisted the whole thing. They say we are intergovernmental agency for development. Now that authority for desertification and this kind of thing was changed to development to make it appeal sweet to the donors who will help them. IGAD has no capacity to solve problems, because if they were to have the capacity, they would have solved the problem in Somalia, they would have solved the problem.
Thank you.
In
Ethiopia.
Kenya and
Ethiopia.
other places, Ethiopia,
Yes.
Eritrea, those places, they don't have the capacity, and there are a bunch of guys who don't know what's happening in South Sudan. So they're just defining the conflict from the spectrum, from the length of the Jenge definition.
Mm-hmm.
They're defining from the Jenge definition. So international community, for them, it is a power struggle. They don't know that it is a born rule mentality of the Dinka who wanted to dominate the political scene of South Sudan, and then from there, everybody will follow them. Now, you said what will happen if let me just go back to the question. Yeah, what will happen if how do SPLM offer what is the disadvantage? And,
yes, the disadvantage and between IGAD and the international community and all that. So for the people,
You know, the international. You know, when you diagnose a problem,
and the insecurity, and not to forget the insecurity, because that's the most important.
When you misdiagnose a problem, you will not have a solution to that problem.
Thank you.
You will not have a solution. Thank you. You and I and those of us who lived in Lebanon briefly.
Mm-hmm.
Lebanon, there's no government there, but why is Lebanon just moving on? Because they have gone to the root cause of this
the sectarian conflict. Sectarian.
Ethnic group.
Yeah, sectarian.
Sectarian.
الحرب الطائفي. Yes.
النظام الطائفي. And here you find that they make sure in the national security, if they need 30 people, there must be 10 Christians, 10 Shia, and 10 Sunni.
Yep.
It is there. They don't give all the power to one.
Power of balance in power. Yeah.
Balance of power. Now the Shia are asking a lot, but the Shia always know they have to be the prime minister. The speaker of the parliament.
Nabih Berri can Sunni.
And then the Sunni got to be the prime minister, and the president is a Christian.
Yep.
Yeah, because the Christians were in a very powerful position, but this is not our case in South Sudan. In our case in South Sudan, all of us were equally in strength. So you cannot say the Dinka will always be the president, the Nuer will always be the vice president, and the Equatorian
it will be the tail.
No, that's not it.
Yeah.
And going back a little bit, when SPLM is started, the first people who went to SPLM, let us get clear. Many of non-thinkers lost their lives at the beginning of the movement. Because, like I said, this thing began as a process against Kokora. People went there to take arms so that they can come and run Juba and come back to Juba.
Thank you for clarifying.
Those days, many of our guys who went from Rumbek Secondary School, from Loka Secondary School, from Malakal, Mahad al-Muallimin fil Malakal, or Meluk Sanawiya, because those are the big schools where all Southerners go. Those guys who went from there, a secondary school leaver or a secondary school student who joined SPLM was supposed to be a cadet immediately.
Wow.
Do you know what happened? Most of the people who went with some kind of knowledge, some kind of intellect, with some kind of certificate, were now thinkers. What happened to them? All of them were killed.
Wow.
They were not given the rank that they deserve. If you are not killed during the training, they put you in the front line where the battle is hard. You will die in the front line. They train you for 3 years. A living example is Dr. Adok Nyaba.
That's right.
How was that? If you can remember the date عشان ذاته بيكون مهم جدا. if كان مذكر يا السنة كان.
أنا يعني بداية البدايات يعني.
Okay في 83 يعني في 83 84.
84 probably 84.
84 لحد 85.
واو. شباب تيكاتوريا اللي مشوا هناك قتلوهم له. Okay.
أيوة. around those days في بدايات هناك يعني أنت لما تمشي هناك كان الوقت ده يعني أنت إذا عندك شهادة سودانية immediately أنت تكون ضابط يعني.
صح. انت فيك تكون كادات. that's true. انا سميت
تكون كادات.
يبيز وراني كلام ده كادات سكول.
كران with the mentality of born to rule. most of the guys who went with the certificate are Equatorians and non-Dinkas.
Wow.
So all of them were killed.
Yeah, that's true.
That's shameful, Allah.
Yeah, so you can see, and if they were really, if the ideology, they were really in SPLM has no ideology.
Exactly.
In politics, it is called a big tent. Yani al-khaym al-khabir, big tent ideology. Yani
Big tent.
Made haja kida clear, but you are just saying yani not clear, so that people don't know, pin you down.
I like that. Big Ten ideology. That's actually, it makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense.
Or catch all party yani da haja kida and best yani lose. Inta maenda ka clear vision, inta there tamu.
And
Everybody is welcome.
it makes sense. Yep.
Yeah, everybody is welcome. Well, they got Garang is the one with that mentality. Garang knew where he wanted to go. And min dimna hajat when after Mara was Governor Torit, when Torit was captured for the last time. The Torit was like a border. I think it was because I had the privilege of flying with him from Nairobi Lokitoga and Waki Dhaka. He was going to Kapoeta. Kapoeta was captured the last time. In Timna Hajab, the old man says, Gujala Torit, Gali Haka Zol Bitakun al Zaman, good Jengeta, Delita guy. That was Sultan Andaria.
Okay.
Wow.
Sultan Andaria, yani, there was a total, the lady got conceived by an Arab. And then the lady was attempted by the Masaki Makama Andaria. It was the most powerful Makama Pijuba Lokita.
Yeah, Andrea come sure, yeah. Yeah, Andrea.
And Andaria was the one who left in Asidinka.
Gumashat.
Aldol Benjamin Gatatera, Zaman that not published. So there was this, what do you call it? I don't know it in English. But this thing that crosses back and forth.
Babur wala. Bakhira?
Dugulo Madia Zaman Dak yani Madia, like I don't know the English name for it. It's like it is there in Mombasa, crossing between the island and the city.
If you show me the picture, maybe I will remember what is it. What is the name?
But before the bridge, there was a boat that goes.
The yacht killer.
Oh yeah, a small boat. Okay.
Small boat.
Yeah, and a moving boat. Yeah.
So Andaria and Nazel can be Arianin to Juba. Andaria Nazel Maya Arianin. Amolo Lubasat is the Muria but in Gatatera because if you want to come to Juba, put on that Lubas and then you enter Juba and then when you go back you want to throw it out, you throw it on that side, not in Juba. Al-Muhim, I'll be confused from Andaria, Amal Gadia, Ligano, I'll be got confused from an Arab. Yawa Andaria Galiaki, Yaki Hata Jenge Saki, Jengema, Alta Bilga, you go to the Arab, this thing entered the Arab.
That's it.
Just because they was going to Juba as the mentality. They were in the
ferry boat, yeah, ferry boat. It's called ferry boat. Thank you, Susan.
Yeah, that's right, ferry boat, yeah.
Yeah, ferry boat, exactly, excellent. If you put the dots together, you will know that Garang himself, at the head of the organization, has that mentality of born to rule, domination. So that thing, when it failed, when that thing, they wanted to put this thing, and then they realized that people know it. The Nuer know about it, the other tribes know about it. So what do? They wanted to now force it. Consider the craft on the Nuer. They tried the Nuer, they found it very hard. When they know that it's very difficult now they're playing it cool. Everybody is suffering. The government is for everybody.
Yep. Propaganda.
They are buying time. They are buying time because they are building their IGAD. They've sent a number of people around the world. They've sent intelligence to be trained in Israel. They've sent a number of people to learn politics all over the world. So they wanted the chaos to continue. They open the instant thing to continue such that when they have enough cadets who are professionals, they will come and declare, no, now we need the certificate. Now we need the certificate.
Exactly. And I thank you for bringing this up. I want you to hold that thought because Kalamna, we need to discuss it next.
I just wanted to say that we now in our 1 hour and a half, we like have a half an hour left.
Okay, Hadassah Galdari say something. Yeah, go ahead, Hadassah, and then you can.
No, I'm just saying that we are in our we went about 1 hour and a half. I think we left with half an hour to go.
Yeah, أنا أعرف أنا بس ده نقول ما هو عنده time بعدين brother Wilson and then we can end like in 2 hours we can because 2 hours is maximum for us today.
Yeah,
We
we
want
only
to make
left with
sure.
half an hour.
Yeah, yeah.
Half an hour
خليه
left. Yeah.
يتكلم اتفضل يا brother هنا إيكاتوريا سان.
Yeah.
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 لكن
So,
I
so
want
like
to
I
talk
said,
about the certificate ده لأنه هسه الناس قاعدين يزوروا بقى يلعبوا الدور. Yeah, اتفضل.
IGAD is a weak organization. IGAD
Yes.
has interest and vested interest in South Sudan. Even lawless Somalia, they've taken off businesses of petrol station, supplying petrol to the whole of government.
Yep.
That one is taken by the Somali member of IGAD. Kenya and Ethiopia, they've taken the banking business, the finance institution controlled by the Ethiopians and the Kenyans.
Mm-hmm.
They've taken that. And then Uganda has taken everything else.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Everything, prostitution, whatever you, sorry to say that. Uganda have taken all that. So those countries got vested interest in South Sudan.
Yeah, that's true.
The gut of those interests is through the weakness of the system. They cannot love to see a strong government in South Sudan.
They don't.
Government that will stand up for these people. Well, so for the security, the disadvantage and the advantage of this one towards insecurity, of course, it is very clear. The instability will continue. There will be no security. It will be lawlessness until all the tribes surrender or accept Jenge domination, which is not coming,
Mm-hmm.
or they continue to resist and the lawlessness will continue until Jesus returns, or people mobilize properly and defeat the Dinka government to establish the rule of law. So if these three things, because the Dinka are not going to surrender, and the other people are not going to surrender, the resistance is mounting, the resistance is continuing. Because now Barghazal has declared resistance. When I just heard from Lake Media, they put a video accusing those of Barghazal people, Western Barghazal, I mean, of resistance. So the Dinka are not going to surrender, because if they surrender, that will be the end. They don't want that.
It is.
And the other people are not going to surrender. The resistance is going to continue by the other 80 plus 5, and this one will mean the lawlessness will continue. There will be no peace. There will be killings in the cities and killings on the highways and killings everywhere.
حقيقة.
Or if people can mobilize and come up with a clear vision and defeat the ideology of born to rule, then there will be rule of law established, and then everybody will sleep at night in peace.
Excuse me.
About that.
If I can ask you a question, if I can simply ask you a question, can I get it?
Ideology. Someone decided to probe the big tent ideology.
Hold on, see you.
Instead of coming out very clear that I want to do 1, 2, 3, but he decided to follow the big tent ideology, thinking that he will attract the Jenge to join him. But as we speak, there is not a single, I may be wrong, but I've not heard a single Jenge who has joined National Salvation. Those who are there may be national security agents, I know of Nuer, but because at the back of their mind, Thomas went to the bush because of Kokora. This is what every Jenge is saying. Thomas is in the bush because of Kokora. And Thomas is in the bush to neutralize the plan of Jenge to continue to dominate the thing.
على الأحداث اللي أنت قاصد أوكي أنا فهمت على to translate it in a deeper way. That mean Thomas went there because he's worried about that the Dinka will retaliate because of Kokora. Is that correct? Yeah.
No, that's correct. No.
ما ياهو ده لأنه قال شنو قال لأنه توماس ما دخل لأنه هو مؤمن بالحركة الشعبية. He doesn't believe in the SPLM, but he believed that he said if I don't get in, tomorrow Dinka will do a revenge killing on the tribes of Equatoria based on the Kokora اللي حصل في 1980s and up to 83 اللي جونجرن جاء عمل حركة بتاعه حركة شعبية. Is that correct?
Correct. Let me tell you, because I told you that I came from Let's Start Media.
Okay.
Charles was there. Charles was talking to
So
them.
أجد في الضمير بتاع دينكا anyway. حتى لو هم
No. When Thomas become upset, when they
hold on CJ يوجد إذا قاعد تسمع اتفضل brother هنا إكادوري أنا بديك CJ yeah and can you like shorten it because هنا جاي نعمل 2 hours at least yeah, but yeah and then I'll give brother
I think
Wilson.
you need to start talking faster.
I think I'm done. In summary, I will tell you.
أيوة جاي نتكلم أكتر جاي نتكلم حتى بكرة ذاته كان لقيت فرصة أنا بدو in the morning أو لأن أنا مسافر بكرة so but I will make sure I have to be ready. Yeah, but I'll be doing some 1 hour at least.
If we can take the advantage and define the problem, redefine the problem clearly to a gap international community, we will not have the solution. The chaos will continue. But thank God, I thank you people because you are bringing up the issue. You are not bringing up the issue, defining the conflict, which they will not want to accept because for them this is going to lead to the end. It's going to diminish the ideology or the plan, the program of Dinka want to rule, to dominate everything in the political, social, and economic affairs.
Yeah, we will silence these guys. These guys have nothing. They're deceiving us, and that's why I want to say just before I thank you so much, brother Equatoria. I wish I would have time because someone not getting complained we stay like 4 hours, 3 hours. So I wanted to make sure I don't go to that extreme. عشان لأنه كمان عشان نسمع الناس باقينا اللي يسمعوا كلام بتاعنا you make sure message تاعنا clear. حاجة نقدر نقوله my brother and I really appreciate because it عندك a lot of history brother Equatorial son عندك history based on things that انت شفته بعينك ده ما كلام بيجي من ناس تانيين ده كلام انت شفته بعينك and then also based on seeing what these guys are planning. وهنا أنا كمي like I'm a person who grew up outside I'm looking at them. I'm looking at their demeanor, you know. But then I'm gonna look at people like anybody. When I'm gonna look at them, when I'm gonna test them. Like I'll be honest, I sat down with Dinkas and I tested them. But every day there is something wrong, you know. وخاصة خليك من ده على النيل كله. عندنا أنا دي صاحبي كان على النيل. عندنا everybody we go sit down كله قبلت على النيل. لكن the way how they look at us, perceive us Equatorians, يعني هم قاعدين يقولنا جبنة. Because we don't talk. بتاع مجاملات. And this is shameful for us Equatorian to be called that kind of demeanor. بناتنا قاعدين يشيلوا بقوة, you know, أراضينا قاعدين يشيلوا بقوة. وياو حقيقة واضح حركة الشعبية بدأ كيف SPLM بدأ كيف ونوير بدأ حركة بتاعهم كيف بتاع ميليشيات بتاعهم لأنه حتى like نوير compared to the SPLM نوير ما عنده ideology. لما رياك مشار قام كده شكل جونجرين ما عنده ideology عشان كده تلقى رياك مشار بيجري للشمال بكرة. Because if they really have an ideology, they would have stand on it. An ideology is something that you stand on it. It's a principle. Say that I believe in this. This is what I want. I want democracy. I want justice. I want my land. And at least now the people of Equatoria are standing up today. الناس الغنية عملنا mockery. الغني يقول إكواتوريا ما بيقدر ينفصل. We have a principle. We have an ideology. Ideology is the land. Is the people. Compared to those guys who ما عندهم ideology. Most of them they come around and sell out themselves. You know. Like just trying to make us look like we are just like over there to play around. But and then the فرصة le brother Wilson لأن Wilson كمان عنده a lot of ideas وأنا بجيب brother James لأن James قالوا ده يتكلم أنا بجيبه James قاعد في خرطوم أنا بشكرك brother James. I'll bring you back in a minute. Yeah تفضل brother هنا طبعا لأنه conversation is not gonna be ended here today. Conversation ده هنcontinue episode بتاعه Monday. شفت كيف؟ هنcontinue episode بتاعه Monday لأنه الكلام ده is deep. حتى CJ عنده a lot of questions and another topic he wanna put in وهنقعد تحت نيجي نناقش لأنه I want you brother Equatoria and Wilson لأنه you are انتم مطلعين. You have knowledge about these things based on experience and based on also information that you gathered when you were there in Khartoum. So انتم ناس عندكم more experience and knowledge. So I love you guys to speak out, you know, freely. وتوروا الناس بتاعنا إيكاتوريان بتاعنا لازم إحنا شنو نجيفوا كإيكاتوريان ما نجيف كشنو كأحزاب سياسية الفاشلة لأنه ما في حزب في جنوب السودان. To be honest, there is no political party in South Sudan. That's how I see it. بتفضل brother Wilson. شكرا لك انت انتظرت.
Thank you, brother Africa, and
Yeah.
I would say hello to everyone, our brothers and sisters in the audience, especially those who are watching us right now. And the first question over there, why is the war from the first place? Those people, I give a lot of thanks to brother Equatorial. Hello, do you hear me?
يعني قاعد نسمعك واضح.
Okay. Brother Equatorial, he mentioned a lot of things and very, very in point. Put it in point because those people, when they went out from South Sudan, from Juba, exactly from Equatoria, the main reason is about the Kokora, why they are split from the other things. That's the main reason. So we are here, we know that لكن هم ما قالوا أن ماشيين بكلام Kokora ده ولا قال كم في حاجة تسوء أنيانيا تو.
Yep.
Anyanyi two, that is the best way to say to put it because Nimeri he never implement the agreement of 1972. So
You disqualified it, yeah.
I Anyanyi two laman sala man kan bi azul aja da Nimeri kana mon nafsi zafi kaje lakin laman garan kala garan ganna Anyanyi two da shuru dali kun SPLA جيش الشعب لتحرير السودان حتى الان تحرير السودان ده من محرر السودان ولا حتى جنوب السودان ده من محرر لانه في النهايه جنوب السودان جاي تم قطاع الشعب.
That's thank you. Exactly. الشعب يقرر مصير جنوب السودان.
بالضبط. يلا انتم بقى يقول يا اخي احنا عملنا لكم وسوينا لكم ما في حاجه. بدنا جودي حتى اللي يكونوا هنا. يعني قبل برادر ديس منشن قال لنا انا الكرو هنا الشهادات دي من كل لغة الجماعة دي وفعلا أنا أعرف في ناس أنا كان بعرف في ناس كان في بور من كسر الجماعة ده لك كتورة كتير في 83
واو
أنا من كان عملية هاي
فيك تزيد صوت شوية؟ لا أنا ما قاعد أسمعك بوضوح كده. فيك تزيده شوية؟ No. إذا كان قربت جنب تلفون maybe it's good but go ahead. أنا قاعد نسمعك لكن بس عشان ما يودر صوتك get close أو زيد صوت كان في طريقة. Thank you.
main reason sa jamata lumun sala barane na sun sala be kalam ta kokora be ha ga lumun amo ya lumun ma giro agala sa lumun giro ne kalam ta ko ga ya جيش الشعبي لتحرير السودان التليفون ده
يا أنا قاعد أسمعك بوضوح brother go ahead.
أنا قربتك ففعلا حدثت من القال جيش الشعبي لتحرير السودان لما قال ده تحرر السودان من ما تحرر هذا يعني بقى بعد فترة طويلة بعد ما كسبنا من شمال السودان ومن ذاته ما داري يغيروا اسم الجيش الشعبي لتحرير السودان هذا يعني هذا كده بيقولوا من لسه وصلنا دي SPLM يعني كده يعني بقى بعد فترة من جا غيروا اسم ده ومن جا غيروا اسم ده ل South Sudan Defense Office
yeah.
something like
ده كله أوهام defense force لكن لسه SPLM ده كحزب موجود. كحزب لسه موجود.
ومن ما غيروا عجب لسه.
يب كحزب موجود.
فسو أنا لحد عشان ما نطول الوقت مرمن أنا لازم الكتورة نجي واحد ونكون جيش كاملة لأنه لازم ما جي brother قبل كلمة قال those people are not going to go back I mean back we have to put our we have to put our foot in the ground.
That's right.
And then here in Equatorian we have to put our foot in the ground because those people are not going to back up. First thing, أنا بقول لك أمم ديكو ورس من عرب ورس أمم ديكو من عرب كتير يعني إذا هاتوا من كبار غزال ولا مين في النورث هناك عرب ودلهم من ورس ذلك على سنة بجسم يجيب أفكار كنا في ماذا يا كم برا في السودان يعني من كوجر مالته من دلهم يعني محل واحد مارس بكم بقرة في سنة ودلهم مع أفكار لهم بيشيل أفكار دي كده بوتي وين سواري هتتم من أصل أنا كتير لو ممكن تلقوا من جماعة من بدري من أنيان ذات من SPLM عشان نزل ترجع تاني لمحلاتهم من دون ما ترجع كيف البرد قال يا أخي عرب ترجع لا عرب ما ترجع ذات عرب بس تشيلوا وين أبيه تشيلوا وهذا من كده عرب جاي تحت شوية أنا أنا كده لا رجال أنا هذا كده في موضوع كده قال يعني نزل يكون جيش جنوب السودان من يوغندا قريب 15 نفر بالرجوع يوغندا الرجوع رسالة بقدر هناك في يوغندا يا حكومة يوغندا أنا كان قبل بداية دخول العرب في يوغندا بس يوغندا بداية كده سلايد but it's going to come over there for them also لأنه نزل نبي طالع برا من محلات المندكل في سويد خالد يوغندا كلنا بيجسوا واحد والله أنا بيجسوا أنا ما بيجسوا إن شاء الله واحد بس شو البتاع قاعد في وين ما لأنه ده حق بتاع فلسطين داخل لازم نديها حق إسرائيل
exactly
أنت بالشكل من أجل أرض بتاعتك ما تقول تتكلم كلامك لأنه ده ما حصل فحاجات لسه من بريطانيا طالعة من جنوب السودان أيضا عنده هدوء تو
حقيقة
فده حاجة بس أن يكون الكونفرنس أنا الجاي ده في أريزونا ده حاجات كلنا بنقول سوا وبعدين كمان براد تذكر تقول كلام كويس ده لازم أن بودي أوراق أنا دي كله لنا
international is a community yeah it's already there بس الوقت بتايم طبعا حاجة ده بس دير وقت بس زي ما أنا قلتها you know إحنا ما علينا بس كتوريان we need to stand on the point of understanding لأنه شنو جاي يجي حالة استفتاء is a referendum when referendum comes Equatorian all need to understand what is in stake is the land and the people لأنه right now إحنا كان قاعدين مع ناس ما حيدونا أرضنا ناس ما حيدونا حقوقنا ناس they are really willing they are so much their eyes up to us هم already insulted us لما بقينا الدولة قال ده بترول بتام remember that هم قال ده بترول بتام خلينا اليوم أهلنا بقى مزارعين ناس بقى يزرعوا بقى هم بقى يحتلوا جوبا اي زول انا ده بس نقول اي زول في سنترال ايكوتوريا مفترض اندرستاند ذس خليه بقى من ايست اند ويست سنترال ايكوتوريا اراضي تاع سنترال ايكوتوريا قاعدين يقولوا قال يا اخي ده اراضي بتام دين كان ما قاعد يكلم قالنا متنا هنا وده حقنا لما نجوا في ويست وايست جا قال يا اخي انا متنا هنا مشى مسكوا اراضي تاع مادي مسكوا اراضي تاع وين يعني يا جماعه حاجه دي ما this is out of the line يعني لما نزول بيجي ويا قالوا لهم حكومه هم بيشجعوا فوضى ده انت بفكر الناس بريسبكت يور رايت the guy is already been accepting يعني هم accept انه دينكا يجي claim مادي land يclaim اراضي تاع باري يclaim اراضي تاع ناس whatever east and west central equatorials يعني اراضي هنا قال يشيلوا بنات بيغتصبوا بنات ده قال ده اسوء شيء لما يحصل خليك بقى من ده يلا كمان فراس ده كله كمان مقابر تاع اجدادنا كمان مان مقابر تاع جدك بيجي بيشيلوا من هناك ده بقى ده تقول ده زول ده ناس هسه بيفهموا انتوا اخوان انتوا دوله yeah
Look like you're going to one of those parties, those troublemakers, girls, the main girls. It's a bit too long for colleges, I think. Oh,
yes
إثيوبيا وصوماليا وبعدين كينيا وجماعة دول عشان بيصلحوا مشكلة
اي خليك معانا برادر جيمس خليك معانا برادر ويلسون coming to finalize عشان نقدر نديك فرصة تتكلم يا خليك معي برادر جيمس خليك معانا هنا ده سوري ويلسون قاعد يكمل كلامه برادر جيمس خليك معانا بس هو قاعد يتكلم عشان نقدر نديك فرصة تتكلم انت قدرت to say something and then sister Flora اوكي بس خليك معانا اسمع برادر اسمع ويلسون جو اهيد ويلسون اتفضل
انا بس قلنا استمع انت ما جبت انوار ما مش اللي انبر مكانه قرأت هنا بدري
اوكي اعمل ميوت يلا خلي ويلسون يفنش انا بجيبك اوكي
كان واصل
ثانك يو
solve any problem over there in our country because they're just working for their own benefit. Like now, if we saw this Cuba Zeto, يعني قلنا كلنا Somalian والجماعه دي الجبرين يا شغالين يعني انت جنوب السودان ده ما بدك تشتغل تجاره في الشمال
حقيقة.
يعني ما في كمان تجاره انت كرو مثلا انت لو تقدر تشتغل في الصومال او تقول في جنوب السودان ما بدك.
Oh, you will never go to any country like Kenya or Uganda تشتغل. انت بيعملوك second class citizen. انت اقل من second class citizen ذاته. You're right. You're right.
حق بتاعك ذاته تقول ناس بتاعه يعني انت ما بتلقى امتيازات الجماعه دي كده
في جنوب السودان. That's true.
عادي ده ودي حاجات احنا لازم كان يعني الناس تشوفوا كل حاجه دي لازم يطلع لان انت صاحب البلد الثاني نمره واحد. ثاني في برادة في واحد جبال كلمة قال في واحد جبال كلمة قال توماس كيريلو هو من إكواتوريا وبعدين يعني
يا ده واحد من نوير كده هو قال يا اخي قال سيريلو ما نويراوي ولا دنكاوي. which I understand that لكن ده ما حجة. احنا ما قاعد نتكلم ان سيريلو داخل في ايو في SPLM مش ايو SPLM. يا اتفضل.
هم كلامه دي حتى ده يعني
they just wanted to agitate and incite.
من أجل مصلحة جنوب السودان يعني هو قدر يغير النظام الموجود في جوبا ده بالذات.
and we don't agree with that. We don't agree with him. هنا ما بيأجري مع سيريلو on this.
صوتك شوية بعيد كده.
ويلسون قال صوتك بعيد شوية وكان في طريقة conclude ده هنا لأن صوتك بعيد كان في طريقة please.
بس كده add volume.
أنا ما أعرف ليه صوتك تلفونك ما كويس اليوم signal ضعيف ولا شنو؟ I'm sorry. عندكم مطر مش؟ Oh yeah, that's why. Because Janjo buried. Yeah.
أنا هكون في الخط أنت المهم واصل لأخواننا تانيين وأخواتنا تانيين كده ونوصل.
ما مشكلة. وأنا جاي أجيبك another either like I thought was tomorrow but if I won't be able to but if another way I can even bring you Monday نيجي نتكلم.
No problem.
You know أنا بيجي نقعد معاك 1 to 1 أنا بجيبك first you can talk because it لازم to keep that memory write it down the notes الكلام اللي اتكلمنا لأنه هنtalk لأن this topic is gonna be episodes based on the definition of the war and based on IGAD كيف قاعد يشوف رؤية بتاعه. So أنا بشكرك كثير. أنا بخلي برادر جيمس كمان من بلد هناك هو قاعد يتكلم معنا دايركت. طبعا الخط بتاعهم كمان ضعيف في بلد هناك. So جيمس قاعد تسمعنا؟
قاعد نسمع.
أنتوا قاعد تسمعوا جيمس كويس؟
قاعد نسمع.
يا اتفضل جيمس انت to put your input ده تدي آرائك في كلام بتاع قبل اللي قلناه ده. طبعا الديفينيشن هو تعريف الحرب اللي هسه قايم في جنوب السودان او الاحداث اللي حصلت في جنوب السودان هل هو احداث قبلي ولا احداث سياسي على نزاع بتاع السلطه زي ما الناس بيقولوا ده نزاع السلطه ولا ده هو نزاع قبلي بوضوح لانه الاثنين قبيله ده قاعدين يلعبوا دور بتاع السياده على باقي قبائل اخرى على اساس حكومه وعلى اساس سياسي. كده بشوف شنو. وبعدين في ناحيه الامن هل حاجه ده what is يعني ما هو ال disadvantage او انا ما بعرف disadvantage I mean disadvantage and advantage based on
الفائده او
الفوائد وغير الفوائد لمصلحتنا. انا ما شايف في فائده في حاجه لكن بس انا قاعد اشوف من رايك انت في فائده في حاجه لان انت طبعا انت شايف الوضع هناك بوضوح اكثر من
المضار حاجه
والمضار الفوائد والمضار. yes thank you. الفوائد والمضار. اتفضل برادر جيمس اتكلم.
انا اشوف الجنوب ده ما عنده تغيير حقه ما في الفوائد ما من استفاده هو المبنيه للقبلي اصلا الجنوب ده هل حقه مبنيه للقبلي ما من استفاده ما من الفوائد عنده ذات. الو
اي انا معك اسمع انا يا الشعب قاعد يسمع اتكلم
انا قلت لك الجنوب ده اصلا مبنيه للقبلي غير ما من استفاده ما من فوائد ذات سواء كان في شنو ولا في السياسه ولا سواء كان في شنو الجذور مبنيه للقبليه جذور الجنوب ما من غير قبيلتين وشنو حتى هم ابناء كلهم ثلاثه القبائل الناس قبليين اصلا ده الفوائد حقه بشوف يعني الاجنده حقه اصله معروفه.
وشنو بيخليك تؤمن بانه قبليين هم قبليين؟ شنو بيخليك تؤمن انه هم قبليين؟
اللي بخليني لك هم يقولوا هم سيدنا، هم يقول لك هنا حررناكم وهاجمنا بالدم وكلام ده اللغه ده مواد يا روسيا.
انا عارف، انا ما انا قاعد نسال سؤال عام، لانه كان واحد سالك سؤال عام هو بيقول لك دي شنو بخليك انت تؤمن؟ ما انا ما اتخيل انا ما موجود، ما اوديسيوس ده ما موجود، تخيل واحد تاني خواجه ولا عربي جا سالك قال يا جك كده ورينا انت شنو، ليه انت بتؤمن انه ده حكومه قبيله؟ انت you have to define to them، انت لازم توريهم، لازم تشرح لهم. so it's your time right now. اخواننا واخواتنا في الغرب إيكاتوريان قاعدين في western countries قاعدين في Asian countries ولا في افريقيا، في تانيين هم لسه ما خاطين حاجه ده في راسهم بوضوح، فانت ممكن تقدر توعيهم بفكره تاع ليه انت قاعد تشوف حاجه ده انه ناس ده قبليين، الاداره ده حكومه قبليه بين اثنين.
الحكومات وادي كان في السلطه هم دول يحكموا الناس دوسي.
انا معك.
هم دول يحكم. انا ما فهمت السؤال طبعا، انا كنت ما فيش يا هو.
اوكي سوري. سو انت ما انت شرحنا يا
اذا الحوار ده نعرفه كانوا هو شنو هم شنو مكتوب شنو قبلتين وحاكمين الجنوب تمام من وين ودينكا
حقيقه.
يلا دل التفاصيل حقه كان كيف الكلام جاء قبلتين قال يحكم الجنوب، ما هدفهم هذه هم دير اراضيكم، هم سيادة البلد.
هم عاوزين يتكلموا، هم سيادة البلد وعاوزين ياخذوا اراضيكم من نهب الاراضي بطريقه حكومه. يعني هسه هم استغلوا الحكومه على اساس انهم يقدروا يسيطروا علينا بدون اي يعني بكل الامكانيه تاع السياسه. يقولوا يا اخي احنا كلنا جنوبيين واحنا كلنا اخوان، لكن الحركه الشعبيه ما عنده رؤيه، او سلفاكير ما عنده رؤيه، او رياك مشار ما عنده رؤيه، كانوا طلعوا كلنا بنقدر نرتاح. مع هسه كلام بتاع مجد كان سميت قال رياك كير ماس جو، هسه قوم زادوا فوق رياك ماس جو. بل هل ده ياو بدينا حل لانه حقوق استوائيين بيلقى؟ لانه في النهايه الارض الاستوائي هسه هو محتل. خلينا نكون واقعيين. I want to remind our Equatorian today Equatorian land is occupied. How is it occupied? Because of the capital. And not only the capital, they are now expanding themselves with their militia, their tribal militia, over the areas eastern and western and central Equatoria. We might not feel it, but those guys are going with their cattle. حسن ناس بحر الغزال قاموا بقي يكوركوا في بقرة، لكن هل هو البقرة هو أساسها مشكلة، ولا هو الزول اللي قاعد يدفع البقرة يمشي قدام؟
أساس البلد ده هو معروف يا برادوس.
Yeah, sorry, في somebody calling. I don't know who the heck is it. Sorry, hold on. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, somebody calling. Go ahead. Somebody. Yeah, اتفضل.
حالة البلد ده يزو بيجيب بلاغات وبقول يا أخي يعني إحنا برا عندنا مشكلة كيف في ولاية مشكلة بقرة، ما مشكلة بقرة. حالة البلد ده معروف إنك تنقسم انفصال. ده هو حالة الجنوب كله. أي زول يجي مكان زي ما هو جا منه.
حقيقة.
Yep. Okay. Well, my last message is
sorry.
I hope that will be the
sorry.
point.
في message. Yeah.
When you look at the number 550.
Yeah, go ahead, brother. Sorry. الناس قاعدين يعمل لك call، يا قاعد يعمل distraction. اتفضل. I apologize.
يلا البلد ده حالته معروفة ودوسيو، ما له تان سياسة ولا له بوليتيك. كلام ده موادي. انت محتاج منه ارجع فيه، انت اسفل ارجع محتاج اسفل حاجه غير ما داير حاجه يقول لي اسفل هنا جنوب.
لا، حركه الشعبيه اصلا ما حركه الجنوبيين، حركه قبيله.
يا حركه ده ما حركه الجنوبيين كله، ده حركه قبلي. الحركه الشعبيه ده هو اسس قبليا ب 1983. ده معروفا معروف بيرتهم، ده هو ده بيرتهم تدينكا يا نوير يا شلو ثلاثه عالم شنو ثلاثه شنو عالم ده بيمثلهم تمام، يمثل ايكواتوريا معروفا حقيقي. معروف. حتى لو برمتم انت هسي قلت حوار الوطن ده في جوبه، ما حوار الوطن سافل الليل ناس وانا مولوال وعندك زنداوي ده بيقول لهم الثاني ده انجلو بيرد.
اوكي I don't know about him.
ده نفس النظام تمنتر وطن يهم بيجيبوا لما ده كنتوا قاعده بتكوتور النسي القاعدين في داكيو زي الكلمه شوف زول من سنتر الكوتور عشان في حوار الوطن عشان يجيب كلام ده في محله. الحوار الوطني ذاته في هم بعمل فيه لعبات. يلا زول اكبر دور فاروق ماشي هنا في حوار الوطني يعني شكله عشان الرشاوي قروش ده عشان زي الجنوبيه ده يعني انا هجيبوا زول ده تاني ده كله قروش قاعد يستخدموا قروش. وثاني في الكوتور برضه يقوم في الكوتور هنا واحد الناس السودانيين ناس تقول واحد ما في كلام زي ده قريب من النفرين ده يشيلون برا من النظام.
هسه رسالتك شنو للاستوائيين بتاعنا؟ final word just to finalize it. What is your message to Equatorians اللي قاعدين في الخارج؟
الناس ويك اب الناس تعمل يونايتد. هنا فايد انا ما شفت برامج سبريشن ده رسالتي. هنا ويك اب ما نقعد ساكت نقعد نقول انه جرى ورا سياسه ولا جرى كده.
Okay.
ده رسالتي.
Thank you brother. Thank you brother James, brother Wilson and brother Equatoria-san. We really appreciate you. And طبعا then نحاول limit the timing عشان ما go far than 2 hours, you know. So it's now 2 hours, but then I'm gonna نختم. Finally, I'll give CJ and then Hadassah and then I'll finalize my word. لكن هنرجع تاني لأن topic ده is not finished. Topic ده is actually to be continued. لأن فيها حداث هنتكلم عن security and then I might brief it in the last minute about security and what I see.
Hello?
Yeah. أنت قاعد تسمعني؟ خليك معي brother.
أنا معاك brother لوسيو. برمت حوار الوطن في ولا ما بتنفع لأن ما في لو قانون ما في هناك حكومة هناك لو في كده عيد كله ما في دولة ما في ذات دولة الدول ما في دولة ما في سكيورتي ما في حكومة وفي يكون في حوار وطن كيف ده سؤال برا بطر نفسه
ألعاب سياسية عشان يغش الاستوائيين من يؤمنوا إنه في حكومة لأنه بقى السخانة قد يجي لدينكا إنه إحنا ما عاوزين نكون دولة مع الدينكا. That's why خاصة الصوت الصراخ بتاع استوائيين ده يكون في انفصال بقى أقوى من أصوات بتاع الناس اللي بيقولوا ماشيين يمشوا روما أو ماشيين يمشوا لاتفاقية تاع 2016. بقول لك بصراحة لأن اليوم هم عارفين الجاي شنو السخانة جاي عشان كده هم حاسين به. That's why اليوم انت بتلقى في ناس بيقول لا احنا كلنا جنوبيين بس خليك كده يجو لكن بتلقاهم هم بيمشوا بيتكلموا عن حوار تاع وطنيه whatever قال الحوار الوطني whatever ده كله اوهام.
كير جول وكير موف ده ما حل الجنوب
ما يحل
معروفا.
اذا
كان ايكواتوريا بيقى الرئيس في جنوب السودان ذات انه ماشي في سبريشن ده حاجه
والله حتى اسمع يا اخي انت في بيتك جاي يقول لك ده كنت رئيس انت ما في
ده حاجه كلام ده رسالتي واحد الايكواتور
امين
الايكواتور بيجي الرئيس ذاته ماشي في سبريشن ده
وانتوا قاعدين في الارض هناك انتوا قاعدين في الارض هناك
بيجي الرئيس ذاته كان بيجي الرئيس ذاته انه ماشي في سبريشن ايكواتوريا ده السوداني.
ثانك يو.
ايه هو رسالتي بالنسبه لكم
تاريخنا موجود
ده مسج يعني.
ثانك يو.
كان بيجي الرئيس وكان منو الرئيس انه ماشي في سبريشن ما فاهم يقولوا السودان انه كلنا واحد انه كده ما في سبريشن بس ده هدف بتاعنا الريبابليك اوف ذا جريت ايكواتور.
exactly.
الايكواتوريين قاعدين هنا كله عشان يعرف
الارض بتاعنا موجوده وتاريخنا موجود. احنا ما كنا جزء من الناس المجانين ديل وما هنكون جزء من المجانين ديل لانه هم اديناهم فرص ذهبيه لكن هم استهتروا واتمسخروا ولعبوا في راسنا. That's why we will fight and we will become Equatoria independent nation. وبعدين احنا بنجمع الدول بتاعنا اللي شالوه مننا اللي شالوه في الكونغو يوغندا كينيا سنترال افريقيا كله بيتجمع لانه ده حاجه احنا عاوزينه يحصل. اراضي بتاعنا اللي شالوه لحد الكونغو ده اكبر من كونغو اكبر من سنترال افريقيا اكبر من يوغندا واكبر من كينيا. شفت كينيا قاعد يستفيد بالبترول بتاع ايكاتوريانز ده اراضي بتاع ايكاتوريانز هم شايلين استهتروا قبائل بتاع ايكاتوريان لدرجه انهم بيجوا يتعاملوا مع الدينكا. اهداف بتاع ناس بتاع يوغندا وكينيا عشان يستهتروا القبائل الايكاتوريه في جوا مناطق بتاعهم انه انتم ما تتكلموا. عشان كده انت اليوم تشوفهم في ايجاد هم دايما بيقفوا مع قبيله الدينكا والنوير على اساس ان انتم تكونوا السياده والباقيين ده يحمشون.
يلا في نقطة واحدة عايز اقول لك.
اتفضل.
الجوال قال دور قروش الدولة قال بدرهم قروش هم عايشين فين جواز الناس عندهم بترول الشقيه هم ما عندهم قروش.
انا فهمت
عشان دول بيشتروا زي دولة ايجاد ده.
نحن هنتكلم عنه اكثر brother جيمس بس ما عاوزين نطول الوقت لكن ندي لي سي جي and then Hadassah and then after that we finalize. I will give my final words and then I want to say thank you to all our audience and the ones who are following us. لأن عاوزين make sure our time will be limited and inshallah next time when we come back live and alive again like healthy and well. طبعا ما بتعرف الوقت ده سنة جديدة كتير ما قاعد يحصل حاجات لكن نشكر ربنا احنا احياء فانا عاوز افضي فرصه لسي جي يتكلم and then حداثه. طبعا اليوم انا انا حسافر بكره صباح.
يا حاجة أنا عاوز أقول للشعب، للعالم، للإكواتوريين بصفة خاصة والعالم ده كله، تعرف مجموعتين دي القبيلتين اللي قاعد يصارعوا بعضهم ذات الدينكا وضنب بتاعهم نوير طبعا زي ما أنا كلمتك. نازل هم قاعد يضللوا الرأي العام العالمي والإقليمي. Regional and international groups when they used to divert them. هم قاعد يقولوا هم شنو؟ هم ياو أصحاب تاع بلد. هم ياو جنوبيين. Imagine, when they named this country which was being annexed le Sudan in 1889. عارف كيف؟ December most probably. هم قاعد يضللوا نازل قال نازل ما من هنا. نازل اساسا هم يوغنديين. remember that منذ كوريا وخدت لهم طبعا الوقائع ده قال يا اخي ديل اساسا ما من هنا. يلا هم في العالم لما جرن جا وطن الناس بتاعه ده خدتهم في العالم هنا لوس بويز ده، هو قاعد يقول ان يا اصحاب البلد. نازل ما اصحاب البلد، انه ونوير ان يا اصحاب البلد وان يا الاغلبيه. you remember that. وهم قاعد يضللوا يلا تانيين ديل those people are not from here. that's what they are saying. لكن historically of course it's clear. The history is clear. أنه we're not South Sudan. بلدك ده ما South Sudan. بلدك ده is what's so called Equatoria. ومحلات ده كان مدريات. يعني there were towns, our cities تقدر تقول.
District in English.
Yeah, city. Yeah, that was district. So هنا نازل woman behind the line. هسه woman قاعد يكنترول الخارجية، قاعد يكنترول السلك الدبلوماسي وحاجات دي كله. So imagine what's the language. Their language is just diverting the world that, just telling the world that, oh, those people are not from here. They are from Uganda and all that. Okay? طبعا, those people whom they used to get along with, women, they almost believe. For those who have no time to go and research all these things, they will say, oh, say, Kalamda, is that true? Well, then they will walk and say, yes, those are kaza. Imagine that. So Equatoria, that's why I'm not going to go strongly. Unless we separate Nazelde, woman maminina. Imagine, woman got to Garang de can be arif, quiz. Garang can be arif le. Why did he say liberation of South Sudan? Tarif cave. So they could sneak, they could find a weary area. But then by the time when, today I could remember لما الزول ده مشى هناك هو أشرف, when he becomes the chairman of the, imagine when you demarcate, al border, new demarcations, other than 1956 border lines, when they start demarcating, getting all these lands of Kafia Kenji, Unas Abiy Mahalde, in order to put it over there. So, every was just planning a tactics of in case if Equatoria was to raise up, Unas Bitat Waude has to raise up, and those non-Dinka or Equatorian and non-Equatorians, if they were to raise up, when time comes, so that we can find a place. Liano, even in North Sudan, they are not any longer over there. Women, they are already mixed Majalaba, many of them, and I could remember, fi Dinka hasa fi Shamal Sudan, Kanta Gutelo Denkawe, no, Galanama Denkawe. They are trying to, disappear among the other groups. So Nazilindum long tactics, short and long plan. This plan is to prepare them so as to take over. If they fail to take over, if we stand and push them out, that's the time when they will realize, they will have no way. Of course, they will hold on to the areas, the dispute area, has a border area in Africa lines, because to this day, imagine if we can say now we are a country and you are Masalan president. What do you expect the first step you should do? The first step, you should demarcate These border issues, conflicts should have been settled between North and South. No, Sudan and what is Equatoria?
That's true.
The great Equatoria. It's unfortunate. They didn't mind it. They just kept it open that way. And as you can see, as they began to, sell this land, but then renting it to those the other nomadics and all that. Then they had to push on toward Equatoria. So Equatoria need to wake up and understand that the issue is not because of one tribes. That's why we are calling for separations. No, it is not because of that. It is because of the dirty games behind the line. There are some dirty things that's going on. One of them that how about Yamadendum coalitions, ma Yalaba. They Yamadendum coalitions. Look at them. Indum amarat fi Shamal Sudan, wendum gurush al bishilum min Junub Sudan dena mamillo muassasat hina ku hajat delu.
Masir, Sudan, everywhere.
Yeah, they are doing. Why are they doing all these things? When they are doing it, so as to go, that's the kind of things, somebody is just calculating that in case I lose there, if I were to lose here, I shouldn't lose over there. All right? Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So Equatorial need to understand the matter is not, when we say separations, it doesn't mean that, because of the tribes, but because of tahdid, the plan that is going on. If you look to the reasons why this Kokora had happened, by the time when Lagu came up in 1972 and we got the self-autonomy, imagine what Jalaba did. Jalaba has to use them, because they know if they don't use them and Equatoria manage to take their lands, the entire land, then it will be horrible, it will be tough for them to get any chance. That's why with those Dinka, they can play the game. The game will be ongoing. So that's why we need to wake up. As far as Cirilo, supposedly, Brother Cirilo Masala, all those people who are now fighting, the Southerners, who are now saying we are fighting for liberation of South Sudan. If you can imagine, if Cirilo were, I understand what provoked Cirilo to get out, what caused him to defect. It was the way when he learned later, Anunazberg had mistreated Equatorians, then they began to burn them in their houses. I remember until he has to call, for those people to evict all these areas. That was what he says. It was something painful. I understand. But, let us suppose, if the war is between Dinka and Nuer, why do we have to interfere? If these gentlemen were to stand the way how Kenya is now standing, if all these Equatorians were to stand and say, Dinka and Nuer, please, get out of the way. Leave our lands alone. Liano, you can't come and abuse it. You can't transfer your war to our area. Number one, you can't go and burn our people, kill our children, rape and our children's wives and all that, and kids. That is so bad. If Equatoria was to stand and establish a force, people like Kenya and the other guy who have just escaped, who have just defected recently, if Equatoria were to hold on to their land, do you think those Dinka will go that far?
No way.
We wouldn't have got that chance.
They would be afraid to come to
we would have settled it. But then to liberate the country, like says Sister Didi, that is not the way. When you should stick on one point. When you say liberation means liberation. You don't have to switch.
To go and sign paper.
Imagine. Remember Palestinians and the Israelis.
Yep.
I remember Andrew Young. He got fired by the time when he met Yasser Arafat. During that conflict, the Arab conflict. The Americans at that very time they were saying, you don't have to talk with terrorists. You understand?
Yep.
Somebody who's terrorizing you, somebody who's killing you, you shouldn't negotiate with him. If you start negotiating with him, it is like you're giving up your right, and you're recognizing him as your superior. أو خلاص هو أو رئيس هو أو عنده رؤسة. I guess those people of ours, Equatorians, know, and with the government. This is not a government. A government should be cohesion, you know. It should be consist of the entire people should have been engaged in this government. It's unfortunate. I'll be giving the elements, the way how Jalaba was treating us, you know. And what Dinka are now doing to Equatorians is a takeover. The way how people did it, the Jalaba did it during the 1955, you know, they just came and took over. So now with Dinka in power, the way how it is, through their militias, we don't have any, you know, if we come to the military, we don't have any national army. What so-called idea the guy min zolak Uganda, you know, South Sudan Galu Defense Force. People began to call South Sudan Defense Force. This is nonsense. Those are militia. Those are not. Those are warlords. Those are militia. Militia kulu. 2 tribes to Ashaniman Yukun Homa Jeshli Wakan. No. You know, there is no Mafi the stool. To tell these people, Galu step down. You know that this guy has to step down. Well, it is number one.
Sorry,
you need to define, you know, you need to go up and understand
the conflict.
What does national dialogue means? You know, you need to know what that is. You know, for somebody to form a national dialogue when he's a terrorist, who are terrorist regimes who's killing his people, burying people, you know, in their, you know, burning people alive in their houses, digging holes for, you know, that's horrible. Grave, you know, doing all these things. This is not a government. We shouldn't recognize this government. People should stand and say, "I know that is not a government. We need a government." When those mediators come, the manas mediators, there is IGAD, Yamadel, though they are not. When somebody is not good, if a mediator cannot play the right role, you know, cannot work things in a proper way, people should say, "I know, please step aside. Let's look for somebody, you know, who can help us." But then, you know, under the ongoing conditions, it is tough the way how we are, you know. You know, some of them now I could see those guys are saying, "I know, in 2013, I shall go lay him." This is all nonsense. That is all nonsense. So Equatoria, you shouldn't buy to that. You shouldn't give up, you know, then stand for yourself. If we stand as Equatoria, believe me or not, we'll take back our land. You know, we will take back our land and beyond, whatever we want. So Equatoria, wherever you are, you need to stand and understand that, you know, this land is yours, you know, and we are now, since we're alive, it is our role to work hard as possible as we can, so as to get our land back. Liano, imagine the definition of the war. You know, they are now trying to confuse it. They have transferred the war to Equatoria, divide the Equatorians tribes, 40 tribes along ethnic line to fight each other as a tactics. That is terrible. Let please calm down and try to go through all these things step by step. You will understand that there will be no solutions under an occupier. You need to get him out of your land. Irrespective of Galan Nakulan Unubin. No, we're not Unubin, we're Equatorians. That land is an Equatorial land. Unubin there, Junub Sudan, Masa Nuba, Junub Sudan. That is what it is. We're not Junub Sudan. So I'm proud of Akhwana Fiwen, those Fiwao, Shabab Bitana Fiwao, Akhwana Fiwao, you know, the way how they're standing, you know, I'm proud of them. And I look forward, Lenas Pamalakal, those who are in Upper Nile, I need them to rise also and stand, work hard, join us. We will meet. The enemy is clear. We know who's our enemy. We're looking at the enemy. So what we're saying is that, you know, everybody has to stand. You stand and join me. You stand and join me. You know, remember that, you know, my right is going to be there. You know, if we did it together, we will do what the Ethiopian did with Mashuno, Manas, what is that? The neighboring Bitauda Lushuno, Eritrea. that is what we reach easily. كل زول بيشيل حقه. All right? Whatever, everyone will take his help. So this is really, it is disturbing. Guys, it's disturbing. But then about the unity of Equatoria, we are united, guys, with the exception of Facebook. Probably in Facebook and the internet, some kind of mentality that, we are going against each other. But, when it comes to Equatoria, we are united wherever we are. The pain, every one of us is paining. Every one of us is in alert. Every one of us is now standing, he has to fight back. But he has no tool. What we're losing is we don't have tool, but that is not an excuse. The wise will stand for himself and use any method necessary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I just don't want to kind of like cut you short because I know we're gonna continue the next
No, you're
episode
good. Sorry.
Monday. So we can continue ahead the same topic. We're gonna repeat it again, part
No, it's
2.
okay. Allah.
Yeah, أنا هذا part 2 of it because طبعا حاجة ده أحداث كثيرة وأنا هجيب again brother Equatorial Son and brother Wilson and also
عندنا 10 دقائق will come this
يعني أنا بدي أدي فرصة الأخير لحداثة and then حداثة you continue and then from there I finalize my word. أنا بس نشكر كل الناس اللي حضروا هنا because we need to kind of like make the time short because I know في ناس تانيين different time وطبعا التوبيك it's very big topic في topic كتير نتكلم عنه لكن طبعا عايزين نخطه كمسلسلة عشان نقدر نحن نفهم الواقع بتاعنا وين كإيكاتوريانز لأنه في ناس ثانيين دايرين challenge إيكاتوريان why they want to separate في ناس ما قاعدين يستهتروا يتخيلوا المسخرة they want to mock us say that we Equatorians are only want to separate because of one tribe. It's not a one tribe issue. It's not a political issue. It's beyond that. It's a history issue. It's a historical background that إحنا لازم نعرف history بتاعنا جا كيف. Equatorians دينا قلنا دي إحنا لما يوم نادينا حالنا هنا جنوبيين قبل ما نادي حالنا Equatorian. There is a reason why we call ourselves Equatorians. حتى الناس اللي في القبائل الأخرى قاعدين ينادونا Equatorian. Why they don't even identify us as tribes as هم قاعدين identify themselves أنا شلكاوي أنا نوراوي أنا دنكاوي أنا من whatever قبائل الفوني ولا قبائل تامورلي. Why we don't do that? Because we know who we are. We are Equatorians. We have a history beyond that. أراضي بتاعنا لما قسموا لي كونغو، يوغندا، كينيا، سنترال أفريقيا، لما دمرونا قبائل دي شالوه عشان أسباب وده نفس الناس اللي بيتكلموا نفس اللغة.
They know it. Like them got ignore it.
I know. I'm just saying that we know our history has been kind of like destroyed because في ناس تانيين they didn't want us to be silent. ما داري يجيبوا history they didn't يكونوا followers they didn't يكونوا دنبا عشان كلام حبة دولار.
بالضبط.
This is a shame for Equatorian. بناتك قاعدين يغتصبوهم، أخوانا قاعدين يقتلوهم، مقبرة جدك قاعدين يشيلوه من الأرض. أنت ما عندك كرامة للرجولة؟ أنت ما راجل؟ Stand as a man. So I don't want to go for. Let Hadassah finalize her word, and then from there I will finalize mine. But we're gonna continue the same topic again Monday. I'll be already in DC. So but anyway, go ahead. Further.
All right. Yeah, since the topic is still gonna continue, it's just like a series that is gonna continue. So I'll just make it short and just thanking all these people that have participated, like Son of Equatoria, Wilson, and James. You guys always bring like new stuff that I'm really interested in it. Like
Yes.
we're looking forward to see you guys back. And CJ, thank you so much. Really, like you've said some really that makes sense to
Welcome.
So it's like last line like what you said, like almost like they're playing us with Nasa, not Sudan there. I kind of feeling the same. I have the same feelings too. Like as if Kaanu is like at the end of the day they decided that I don't know whether they've been bribed or what by the North, that kida the rest of the tribe in South Sudan, and they should not have a say, returning the land of South Sudan back into the hands of the North Sudan or something like that. I don't understand now.
Excellent. That is exactly what it is. That's exactly.
And then because this is the situation that we found ourselves in now. And then like imagine just kidding. Let's think about the 4,000, even more than 400,000 people which have been killed in this civil war. And then think about all these millions of people that have been displaced. Okay, then let's put this into account. Nasal limit Brain Tomon is limited down to I cannot leave Dinka, I cannot leave this, I cannot leave that, because it's like you know why you're gonna be asked for, you're gonna need a separate or something that well I can't, you know, that which it doesn't make sense. Just look into this statistic, look into this situation whereby we lost so much life. We Equatorians want to exit out because we want to save life, not because we hated anybody. I've said this before, and I will still emphasize that we want to save lives of Equatorians first, and then the lives of the others too. We want to save them. So, and then the other thing is like, I will actually that to leave it here so that it doesn't take a time, since that's the topic that
No,
is
no, go ahead, go ahead.
topic.
Yeah, go ahead. You're good. You're
Because it's
good.
an
Go ahead.
yeah. I just wanted to like say something like, Nasta Cirilo Dalela, it's like I feel like you guys should not get really mad. We should really dissect this problem, standard equatorial. We should dissect it apart and see what's our problems, what's our weakness, what's our strength, you know. عشان back the region water back into trace ourselves back into our, in our ancient land. We've really been blessed. The fact that Zato, a lot of people Zato maybe might not know that Equatoria was existing as a nation. Equatoria is a country by itself, and the evidence is out there, and the world knows it, that Equatoria was a country. For someone to come up and bring a weak argument saying that we cannot separate and be separate lay because now back there sibunas there be just lay and why and who, we are not babies to be babysit by international community or by other people,
That's true.
or to be forced into the hands of barbaric people. We are not other people's slave. We don't belong to other people. We're not products in the market, that people could own us. So we are people. We are a nation by ourselves. Like I said before, we said that we're tired of being hiding under different nations. We're tired of being hiding into different nations, being tucked away in the back. Now we're coming out as our own identity as Equatorians. We are not anymore hiding behind South Sudan or behind any other nation. We're coming out. It's something that who we are, accept it or not. This is who I am. I cannot deny that I am an Equatorian woman, and I'm proud of it. There's no need to be ashamed of who you are. You are a nation. You have existed as a nation. Be who you are. Accept who you are. Let go
And
of this.
imagine if we can cut you a little bit. Remember that, imagine when those people come to the White House, when those KK come and storm the White House. Imagine how was the reaction. Yani hasa, if those people were main unity, they shouldn't even step to our house. They shouldn't, they initiate their problems and then they began to fight each other. Why do you have to come to my house instead of coming and be respectful, respect yourself, stay and say, please, can I have a place to stay? Instead of be kind of that guy. No, you come and start, storming my house, taking my properties, doing everything. So is that what unity means? No, you didn't respect my house. How should there be? How should I accept you as for unity? How should I say, okay, come on, let's unite? No, you're not any longer. It's a kill. You abuse. You discredit me. You put me down. You dishonor my right. Okay? You come to my house. So even now they're crying about the economy. Imagine Equatorian has never been depending on United Nations. In food, they can farm. They can do anything. Like they wouldn't allow Equatorians to farm. They had to go and destroy their land.
We have skills, other skills that we have more skills. Equatorians have skills that we can depend on them. Including our agriculture and stuff like that.
Now, leave alone that short enough. Shortly, if we are not serious, if Equatoria is not serious, we're going to be a second class. Education-wise, we're not going to have there's not going to be any. This coming generations is not going to be educated any longer. They're going to be primitive. Imagine we're going to be faced with that. Is that what Equatorian need? No. Even if you unite, now if we were to go unite with those people, now they are, with all these PhD, they are going to hold these universities. Mune bukun fogo superior, wajadel. Imagine, with mentality they will put us down. So we need to be independent. That means it is your right. And I was assured, I wanted to see any one of us can compete for presidency, can compete in everything, in a free will, mushita under bondage, mabadi doctor kida pressure. No, we don't want that. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I would say this, like, I don't see the reason why certain few individuals are too attracted to those people. I don't see really why. Because how could you really be attracted by somebody that really murders you, murders your family, like it sees you and just like wants to devour you? Somebody that raped your sister, your uncle, your munu munu, and you're telling me making a gay out of your sons and your brothers and munu. So, and you're coming here telling me, Gali, or you're sitting somewhere, tucked yourself somewhere comfortable, not saying, Gali, I don't see the reason why we should separate. I don't see the reason why this. I don't see the reason why. Like, please, just enlighten your mind here. Can I open your mind? What's a muktakeshu? And think about all these things that is happening to us. You know, all these things are befalling us in Equatoria, which it should not happen. Now that they started a fight in their places and then they ran to us as a refugee to seek refuge. They were a guest to us. They were supposed to be refugees. But then now look what happened. They took over. Because Sikil minds that Abunas be killing Gali. Oh, we are one people, we are one people. But to them, you are not one people. To them, you are an enemy. To them, they look at you, they want your place. They want to be you. They want your place, but minus you. You need to know that. And this has happened and they've been showing us. So I'm just gonna leave it here because I don't want to prolong the time so that you can also conclude it. We're going in our 3 hours, so I'll leave it here and we can pick it up from where we left it next time. Thank you for the good job, Etika. I'll leave it here.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Hadassah, CJ, and my brothers, Brother Wilson, Brother Christopher. إن هنرجع تاني Monday. We'll talk about this. في حاجة واحدة نذكر هنا. نعم التاريخ مهم جدا. His history is important. If you want to know yourself, you need to go back to history. And you spoke the truth. And just to remind our Equatorians, very important thing that CJ mentioned. The SPLM, in reality, it had an ambition. It had a vision. The vision that CJ have just mentioned, but did not relate it to SPLM, but I related to SPLM based on what I've seen. I never born in the time when SPLM was there, but I'm just saying SPLM is there for a reason. When SPLM was created, it wasn't created because even Kokora, let's go to that extreme. It was created because Dinka was backward. The tribe of Dinka at that time was still going naked. That's the reality. Okay? It's not something to be ashamed of. It's something to be acknowledged, that the Dinka need to understand that they have a history, that need to ask themselves why they used to walk around naked. They need to ask themselves like that. They claim it's a culture, but for us, people who dress up in حتى الشلو قاعد يلبس لاو whatever بيقولوا لاو بتاعهم Ecuadorian, they wear urshal وحاجات قماش حيوانات, they cover themselves. Europeans have described those tribes based on how they wear, how they dress, and the way how they think, even the anthropology of time, language of time, all these things. Dinka until before the end of 20th century, they were living in that kind of mindset. And why they do that? Because they were backward. So now John Gering and Abel Aliarnaman came up to the experience of knowing that they need to change this kind of mindset. Yeah, they were revolutionaries. They were revolutionaries. But the revolution was not based on revolutionizing the whole country. They were revolutionizing, they focus on the revolution on their own tribe. I mean, we need to get our tribe out of this mindset by let them go to get education, by going outside the foreign countries, because in Sudan, in North Sudan, you will never get anything because you're just described as an abid, our slave, because that's how they used to call them, and they call them kuffar. Some Dinkas joined the Islam so they can get education. It wasn't based on they went there because they really believe in Islam or they believe in the religion. But at the end, people mock Dinkas, say, "Oh, you guys can go Muhammad Yom Juma, and then Sunday you'll be James or be Peter." This is what they do. But in reality, this is what Sudan in general was, because they were trying to Arabize the whole country by making you follow the system of Arabism or Arabic style, Arabic system, while the Southerns, Equatorians knew themselves. Equatorians already defined themselves during Anyanya, and even before Anyanya, they said we are Africans and we will never be equal with these guys who call themselves Arab, because they are remnant of Arabs, and we don't even look like we don't look eye to eye with them. Even we have Muslims in our country, and imagine even Central Africa, the land that some of Equatorian land was taken to Central Africa and Congo. There is Muslims there, but Equatorian never claimed that they are Arabs with this Islamic idea, right? They kept themselves together. So the northern, or the side of where Upper Nile is, the Upper Nile, most of them escaped prosecution, terrorism of the Arab Mahdi and all that, and they moved there. And everybody know in the history that that place is not a place to be living in. But today, those tribes in Upper Nile, they don't want to admit that. They want to say that they belong there, and they have a right to be called Sassanese, and they want us to join them because they are Sassanese, and this is wrong. They need to know where they come from. They need to respect the Equatorians. Don't want to be part of them because we don't share the same culture, based on the history and based on our history. Our history are different from them. They were runaway slaves, and we are not. I'm not saying disrespectfully. I'm just being honest with ourselves. They ran away because of the Mahdi and because of the Ottoman Turk were abusing them, chasing them away. They have to go to this Upper Nile side so they can survive. And they did survive. And then the Equatorians kind of like respected them and even kind of like allowed them to live there without even arguing with them, because they say, you know what, they're like me, I don't care, because we know the real enemy is those who don't look like us in skin color. And that's what's clear.
Thank you. That's great.
They went up to the point they fought the Belgium, they fought the British, they fought the Germans and the Turks, and Equatorian was dead. And then Equatoria was divided because of this reason. Equatorian tribes were so strong to the point they have a principle. They said, and the good thing also, Equatorian at that time, not Equatorian today. Equatorian at that time, they used to use the terrain against the enemy. Today, Equatorian today, they are giving up on their rights, especially when with IO and SPLM. I'm asking myself, what is the Equatorian of yesterday? Those guys used to be like Vietnamese. يا كترك بيفروا شفت شرك نمن أي زول عادوا بيجي ما بيقدر. أصلا لو كان ناس أنا بس نقول كانوا منهم كان سيرلو كان عنده تكتيك وكان بقول للشباب ده عملوا شفت شرك everywhere. عملوا شرك everywhere. شفت بهدلوا ناس ده. أي دنكاو بيجي ببقرة شفت بقرة ده كله بيموتوا مع ناس ده. But do they do that? No. They're allowing civilians to run away. Abuna Yabiga bitkallam. Abuna Yabiga spokesman bita Equatoria. And the man who say he's Equatorian and speak about South Sudan, he can't even speak one word for his brothers. حتى ناس شلوك لما يحصل حاجة في ملاكان تلقى leader حتى لو قاعد يقولوا قال جنوب السودان ولا real SPLM, he still talk about his own people. And this is why we disagree with brother like that, because not out of disagree, like hate for the sake of disagreement, لكن قاعد نحترم. احنا عاوزينه يفهم حقنا وين. He needs to speak for his people. I don't even care if he don't speak. It's okay. That's his own problem. But if we don't speak, just understand that Equatorian Tanin will judge you. At least I'm bluntly coming to you, say that to you, because they learn to speak out. ما تقعد تتفرج. بالنساوين بتاعكم بيغتصبوه بتسكتوا. الرجال بتاعكم بيقتلوه بتسكتوا. حلة بيقتلوه بتسكتوا. How long? هل السكوت ده يا قوة؟ وانت لحد هسه ما جوبا ده بيتك. جوبا ده بيتك. انت من تعرف منطقة بتاعك جيت من وين؟ انا متاكد ولدوك هناك. انا ما بعرف انك ولدوك خرطوم ولا زي، لكن كده ولدوك في جوبا مفترض تيك جوبا. That is disgrace for you and your family to let Juba be controlled by some nomadic tribe اللي قاعد create tribalism within Juba. والناس الجوبا هنا قاعدين يتكلموا قال احنا عدوك ده Those guys are talking nonsense because they don't know the reality that why it hurt us when we see our brothers are being insulted, our women are being disrespected, our land have been taken away. We want Equatorial to be free. ما عشان لأنه حبا إحنا نكون far away from anyone. لكننا لما شفنا عدم الثقة في الناس ديل، الناس ما عارفين تاريخهم، لكن ده يجيبونا في قصة بتاعهم، وناس ما عندهم حتى فكرة عشان يحلوا مشكلتهم. They don't want to solve their problem, but they prefer, they want us to be part of them, their problem, and then we the one we're gonna be loser. يعني زي ما قال كان في شكلة 2 نفر ما تدخل فوقه. إيكواتوريا دخل في مشكلة الناس 2 نفر واليوم انتوا بقيتوا خسرانين. This is exactly what happened to us. So my fellow Equatorians, I don't want to prolong, but remember, we will continue Monday. But we, to get out of this, we need to look at ourselves. It starts with ourselves. You know, some people mock us separatists. But you know, Equatoria was not even part of Sudan, so we can be called separatists today. I'm not a separatist. I'm an Equatorianist. I believe in Equatorianism. Okay? The idea of calling me a separatist, that's just a weak language. Like last time they say it too emotional. I'm not a separatist. I'm an Equatorianist, pro-Equatorian, and I'm an Equatorian patriot. I believe in Equatorial land, I believe in Equatorian people, and I believe in every tribe in Equatoria must get their right. You two tribes who are causing the problem in the whole country cannot even respect us, and then some weak elements within our Equatorial land now who live outside, they want to talk that, oh, احنا كلنا جنوبيين. كان كلام دينك يا بقى انت مفصلوا ده كيف تنفصلوا? Imagine they mocking us like that. They're making laugh at us. But we're not going there because of this. We're claiming our land. We're claiming our right because it took a machine where to revitalize peace agreement. If you're going after peace, Rome peace agreement, if you're going after this so-called national dialogue, I'm telling you, Equatoria will never get their place. Equatoria, to get their place, they need to stand for Equatoria and dismiss everyone. I'm زي يسوع قال في Bible, either you're with me or against me. Do you know what that means? يعني either أنت معه ولا أنت against him. Because Equatoria has nothing double. Equatoria is one. The people of Equatoria, they know their tribes. They know how we culture بتاعنا. إنما قاعد نقول جنوبين. We don't even share anything with Junub Sudan. So why are we afraid and ashamed to call ourselves Equatorian? We believe in Equatoria because Equatoria خلانا نكون اليوم the power and the name. اليوم جوبا قاعدين يمسكوا بقوة السلاح. Because لو ما Equatoria كان بيعرفوا the idea of Equatoria and the ideology. Equatoria is an idea that built Equatorians. ما كان اليوم دينك بيجي كلهم مع نوير بيجي يقتحموا الأرض ده بيجي يعملوا حالهم سيادة في الأرض. Today they are making the national country بيقولوا شنو العاصمة كله في جوا Equatoria. And yet they can't even build a capital in their own territory. Why? Look at the way how they live. Look at the way how they think. Why is a home model today to build superiority based on sending their kids outside other countries عشان يتعلموا عشان بكره يغيروا الطبقات. They want to change the classes. الطبقة بكره بتغير وأنا بقول لكم فاضل لنا بس 4 سنة. Today now, let's count this year is 3 years now from now. And I'm telling you, Dinka and Nuer will be superior over us, and Equatorian will be inferior, and then you'll see how we're going to be treated that time. African American, I live in America. Look at the way how African American are treated. They are the lower class in America. They're the people now I should get a Trump done and Jeffy Power circuit because they don't want black people to get advanced. Now when Obama built a chance for every black man to get education. Black people need to look at their education. للأسف education تا black got stopped لما Trump جاب في power لأنه كان جاي يعملوا free colleges until 4 years يلا تجي تدفع later, you know, عشان بيكون every black kid. وحتى أوباما عمل قال you cannot get a job. حتى شفت الجاب تا زبال ساكت زول تا زبالة, you have to have a degree, not just high school degree but bachelor degree, a bachelor degree. Today Trump destroyed that. So we don't know what's the next president going to do. لكن بدنا نقول لكم black have suffered in America so bad that even the ancient as Malcolm X and Martin Luther King have cried for black rights. وإحنا كإيكاتوريان ده أرضنا ده بيتنا, إحنا ما قدنا fight for it harder. إحنا قدنا give it up to the person اللي جاي هناك عنده ضغينة who they take over so fast عشان هو يكون in power superior and then يقول لنا يا سيدة. But that's why they call us we're born to rule. That language did not come second. أبل الياري هو واحد منهم. حتى في national dialect ده حتى هم يعترفوا is أبل الياري is the one who is writing it. With other
ridiculous عشان يقولوا they call national dialogue قال chairman بتاع national dialogue. That is nonsense.
أبل الياري the same guy.
دول حفر حفرة لإكواتوريان. هسه ثاني عاوز يحفر حفرة قال لي سلام. ما في حاجة اسمه حوار تاع سلام. دول تاع حوار ما في. منو عاينه؟ منو عاين دول ذات.
Exactly.
But then and I was there is one thing I wanted to tell those people, Equatorial, wherever they are. Let us just put it clear. The عملية اللي كان زول خدتها لنا when we were with Sudan. تعرف كيف؟ كان إكواتوريا عاوز يكونوا شنو؟ عبيد لدينكا. Let them go for unity. لكن كان إنت فعلا إنت إكواتوريان. إنت بتعتز بموقفك. alright? إنت عندك شرف وعندك مكانة وتعاوز ترجع كرامة بتاعك. If you wanted to return your dignity, to get your dignity back and your rights, please, you need to stand for separations. You need to tell the Dinka and Nuer, please go respectfully. I know they will not go that way, but we have to stand. Arbain, imagine, we are 40, we are the majority. And Akbar Gabila, Akbar al-Qabail, 40 tribes of Equatoria. Indian tribes cannot defeat us. We shouldn't be that weak and naive to come down and say, okay, Salam, this land is for us all. Nonsense. That is not for us all. Ya akhi, we welcome you. If we were to say about Dinka particularly, Nazi, we welcome you to our houses. We gave you everything in our hands. We share with you foods. We get intermarriage. We have seen, though it's 2 to 3, at the end of the day, you could turn against us. When we got this self-autonomy, all of a sudden, then you could turn against us. Imagine, that is what Jalaba used to say. So is that the man that he wanted to stay with? No, ما ممكن. لأنه أنت خنت الأمانة. أنت قتلت، أنت زنيت، أنت عملت مصيبة. ربنا ما بسامحك، ربنا ما بسامحكم في الدنيا. عشان كده احنا بالنسبه لنا traditionally لما تقعد مع زول زي ده تعرف قاعد يقول عنه شنو انتوا بتكونوا مجزمين جزام قال بيجيكم مرض الجزام. في كثير من الكتوريين بيعرف كلام ده كويس. زول اللي بيقتل من عائله بتاعك وتيجي تتعانق معاه في النهايه لانه حاسس نازل هم او كتبوا لنا الانفصال ده. It is not in our hands. نازل هم they are the one who wrote it. It is they are the ones who did it. It is separations. We wouldn't have think of that. But they are the one who forced it to us.
Thank you.
When you come to someone's house, who will accept it in this world? I had to go to your house, abuse your wife, do abuse even men and all that, all these kind of things, burn them alive. A Somalian was looking at the situations in Equatoria, a family got burned in a house. Oh, Somali, I was shocked when he talked to me. He was shocked. He says, oh, what the hell is that? I says, then he went on explaining to me. A girl came out of there, burned all over. She was scared to death. She was already dead, but yet she was scared. Began to say, please don't show me to those people. Imagine begging, imagine that kind of life.
Because
is that the kind of people that you wanted to live with? Those people?
Yes, sorry.
Matagulay anude kiro mashar. No. Militia dem namuno. Militia ta dinka demuno ma atfal shabab kanu yitaallamu. I wish they could have used their education to tell their people, no, it is wrong. Don't do this, daddy. Don't do this, baba. Don't do this, ya sheep, ya malik, ya shunuma, mabarif. Bang, don't do this. Those are our people. None of you could do that. You could take guns and go and kill Equatorians. Take them out of their lands. Take your cows and put it in Equatorial lands. Try to get his lands. Is that the way how we have to live? no, we can't live with you guys. You have already written. You have written the disaster that you have caused.
I don't want to cut you off, CJ.
Thank you.
I know this thing is a painful thing to discuss.
It's upsetting. It's upsetting.
And I'm نيجي في وقت تاني وقت يعني كويس Monday because I'll be in DC. I can have time because that's my last day on Monday before I get to work. So anyway, I will have a day we can talk at least 3 hours. Even though I almost got to 3 hours right now. بس أنا قاعد نقول حاجة معين خليه يستوعبين يفهموا منطقة مركز بتاعهم وين. أنا بس حاجة اللي نركز الناس قاعد يبنوا they building their assets right now by going outside the country, other countries. يعني أنت كان شفتهم هسه في دول أجنبية ده they're sending their kids. Don't say that those guys are not educated. Don't say that Dinka are suffering because anybody who say Dinka are suffering, then why they sending all these kids to foreign countries to go study there? They are building an asset. They want to make sure that Equatorial will never get a chance, but they will get their people a chance. And today you see them, they're building themselves perfectly. And they are living under UN, and the same time UN is helping them, programming them so they can take over. Look at them in UN camp and look at the people who are living on a tree. And look at the guys who are living in Uganda. They don't even get anything.
We became foreigners in our land. We become foreigners in our land.
They're not good. After for Uganda, they deprive those Equatorians from getting education enough to go outside the country. Finas naman fadlu ma go to camp for Uganda. They prefer to stay in the city just to work hard. زي في خرطوم. اليوم في جنوبين في خرطوم they will work hard just عشان يقدر ما يقعد في مخيمات في جبل أولياء ومكانات ديل because هم شافوا حالهم they are abused لأنه هم هناك بيدامنيت قالنا يا majority. They always come up in the majority. إني أصحاب الحق إني أصحاب البيت. And Equatorians are not speaking because Saladin Tana showed to be weak. قادة بتاعنا shown to be weak. And then either هم بيجروا ورا SPLM عشان يقدروا يتكلموا عن حقهم وهم refuse to speak the truth, refuse to be brave enough to say, oh, hold on a second, Dinka ما أكبر قبيلة في جنوب السودان. They don't want to say that. So how can you be able to say إنت جنوبي ولسه بتلقاهم بيجوا بيمشوا ورا جنوب السودان ده وهم قاعدين يذبحوهم كل يوم. ما نفس الحركة ده جنوبين كان جروا في شمالين لأن السودانيين مش ذبحونا لما جنجرن جا استخدم الجيم بتاع أنيانيا عشان يقولنا إحنا شنو we are fighting but جنجرن كان ليب دورين ليب دوره قالوا قاعد يحرر جنوب السودان الواحد وفي نفس الوقت قاعد قالوا الجنوبين كنا fight في جنوب السودان. He killed everyone اللي قاعد يعارضوا لأنه الناس اللي قاعدين يعارضوا لأنه الناس بيعرفوا حقيقة بتاعه. Don't say those people were killed because they oppose him.
العرب قال في جنجرن قال ده مخادع قال مخادع.
أنا عارف ما ياهو حتى فيليب كابوش واحد من الناس اللي كره زول لما نو حلف وقاعد يموت who cried وفعلا جنجرن ما عاش. That's why جنجرن مات after that Philip Kabush.
You ran out of time.
So all I want to say, my brothers and sisters, Equatoria must stand and must rise because we're going to continue. We're going to continue to talk about the definition of the conflict because this is a conflict اللي بعيد من كده. زمان قلت conflict ده ما بدأ بتاع سياسة. This conflict between Nuer and Dinka is not a conflict of politics and power struggle. It's a tribal problem that happened centuries ago. That Dinka and Nuer were using it in their time when they became dominant in power to say that this is a political issue. But in reality, it's not a political issue. It's a tribal issue. لأنه لسه ناس عقلية بتاعهم رجعي. They're still behind. That's why. But then Equatoria are the one who falling victim because of cowardness. We need to stop up being cowards. That's why they used to mock us. Yeah, Equatorian to mock تشغلوا حالكم ليه? Fight back. That's why Equatorian is stop calling like in separate for you. Those who are saying we're separate for what? They are actually proof to what Nuer and Dinka يقولوا to Jubana. هم بيضحكوا فوقكم. تكراجل stand for the land of Equatoria, stand for the right of Equatorian, for the daughters of Equatoria, for the land, for the grave بتاع Equatorian اللي قاعدين يشيلوا من برا ده. And for the kids اللي جايين يولدوهم اللي جايين في المستقبل بيكون ناجح. So أنا ما جاي أكتر. ربنا يبارككم. I've took too long, so we'll talk later. And God bless you guys. أنا بشكر everyone who wrote, who spoke out and joined us here. Brother Christopher Wilson, Equatoria's son, and all those who wrote, our sisters, Bint Lasu, Uncle David, Sunshine and Sister Stephen Betia and all the others. I just don't. Susanna Evo, if I'm correct the name. Max Michael and Florence. I know
Rania
Florence tried
Katai.
to come in, but she could not come in, unfortunately. Oliver Locran, I hope I pronounce your name right. Forgive me if I pronounce your name wrong. IFBB, my brother, Pro Stephen Olema, and again, Christopher, who wrote earlier, and others who came in and wrote and participated. Susanna Evo, and Oliver again, yes, Oliver, all these guys, thank you so much. God bless you guys, and those who never wrote but they're listening and watching. And I would say also to our brothers and our enemies, because I know the enemies are watching. Not everyone who will accept us, but you know,
Yeah, what I want to say is that,
yeah,
Equatoria, you
yeah.
know, don't be sad. You're defending your house, you're defending your family, you're defending your child,
Thank you.
from abuse, from killing, from all this mess. So when you're in Equatorial lands, you're fighting for your right. If you get a step out of there, then it is illegal. It can be illegal. But دفاع عن النفس. زول دخل في جوبيت بتاعك وانت قاعد تدافع عن نفسك. That is what it is. It is that simple, guys.
Shukran.
So let's not misinterpret things. Let us not say كلنا أخوان unity. No. It's got to fight for your survival. You become foreign in your lands. Can you imagine? في UN camps هناك who's most respectful. القاعد في مخيمات بتاع United Nations ده مخيمات لكن انت الكابينك هناك ده you are nothing. العكس those people are still going after you to hunt you down. I'm sorry.
Yeah, بس ننتهي بكره Monday وربنا يكون معكم. أنا بس أني finalize it because عشان طبعا أنا have to keep the time. هسه أنا عملنا
it's okay. Thank you.
3 hours actually. So أنا بشكركم اللي حضرونا وربنا يكون معكم. أنا ما أتكتر. So I apologize CJ. إحنا هنيجي نتكلم تاني لأنه كلام ده.
You're good. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Guys. God bless you. وربنا يكون معكم. We'll see each other next time. Alright, I'll put the music Equatoria because this is who we are. Remember this song? This is who we are. Equatoria.
GOE Records. Oh na 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 na. Oh na 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 yeah. Banana kala. Na 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 na. Anina wahi. Anina sawa. Oh yeah. Anina Equatoria. Nasawa. Anina Equatoria. Beled wahid, anena Equatorian. Anena Equatorian. Oh yeah, kanita miniambio, kanita mintori, weleta min Juba, yeah. Anena Equatorian. Keresia sama gesima anena. Yeah. We strong, we stand together. Yeah. Kanihna gulu wahi Equatoria biraba Iyapirwa pijama Asan bele na biraba So give us pen and give us guns Give us Igbanagule Anina Equatoria Nasawa Anina Equatoria Beled wahid Anina Equatoria Anena Equatorian. Oh yeah. Kanita Zande, Kanita Mai, Au Kukuye, Anena Equatorian. Kelena Hibona Fusina, Kebilia Kedema Periganina. Salam wa sahafa Behajaderino Hassan Belet na biraba Arif ma bisaido So give us pen and give us guns Give us Igbanagule Anina Equatorian Nasawa Anina Equatorian Beled wahid, anena Equatorian. Anena nina iko sorry.
Nina kulu sawa jama. So my pelpa nangala. I love my people and I'm the voice.
Acholi ya buka ya baka. Tika balanda mare. Kakuwa kiniko Lango lugoya. Acholi posa mundo. Nyambara morobe made. Mundare. Nyambara. Otumo pare makoto. Lubara bungaya lope. Lodo
posa mundo.
Nare.
Anakulu nasi sawa. Mavi hata bigesi manena. Siasa mabigesi manena. Alina wahe.